Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Brick Something News. It's Sunday. It's 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's time for me to get on this channel with a guest and talk about the needless ephemera we saw, which is a fancy way of saying let's just geek out on cool things on the internet. Today, as you probably saw from the thumbnail or from the social media posts, I'm joined by my actual Bro Something, my brother. This is my brother Ted. What's up, Ted? I know, it's so funny.
Man? Yeah, so people always be like, yeah, can't you tell we look exactly the same? No,
twins,
anyway.
Same direction. Yeah, no. We actually we look more similar in our old age than we did when we were young, because I feel like we had constantly different facial hair and hair combinations. And
oh yeah. Hey. Hello, everybody. Hello.
And so I'm super happy to have you on, because I've mentioned you a bunch of times, because like doing this whole toy tube thing, you're part of the story, right? Of like how I got into toys, because I often tell people I was born into like this guy's already budding 5-year-old toy collection. So so now you all get to meet Ted, and Ted is Ted, as you might have picked up from the thumbnail and the description, Ted works for actually let me share this, because I'm a visual person. Ted works for this guy. So
that's the boss.
This is the boss. Why don't you tell folks what you do with this guy, or for this guy, or whatever the
what do I do for that guy? Because I'm Ted. Hi, everybody. I'm a big fan. I've been watching Brick's show since the beginning. I've been lurking. You might see me down in the comments sometimes as the real Robo Tribe. That's me. I'm a Walt Disney Imagineer. I am an executive creative director. If I had to describe what I do, imagine all the Disney parks. If you've ever been to one of those things, and they have attractions, a ride, a show, a restaurant, any of those things. Imagine if those things in the movie world were a movie. Well, I'm the director in that regard. So but it's a lot like toys, and play sets, just
exactly
a lot bigger and a little bit more interactive and a lot more expensive. Although I don't know. I think that the Mezco stuff is kind of up there too. So
fair enough.
That's what I do.
That's perfect. Like on that note, that's how I've been describing it, because you really are, in many ways, you and the rest of the Imagineers. It's like building life-size, like 1-to-1 scale action figures, like, and we're the action figures, or like, there's the mascots or whatever, like this guy here. Here's a 1-to-1 action. And the parks are play sets, right? It's like this is the Star Wars play set. This is the whatever, right? The Tomorrowland play set. So the Jungle Cruise play set. And we'll get definitely into it a lot more towards the end when we do That's What's Up. But I'm curious if you can share maybe some of the things that you've worked on, some of the play sets or things that you've worked on, so people have an idea. And I'm just going to shut this door while you go.
Yeah. It's been a lot. I'm sorry, I got kind of.
Or just what kinds of things you've been working on, or what people might have, what people might know about that you've worked on. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Probably the better known stuff is starting with the new Fantasyland work I did in here in Magic Kingdom in Florida, Orlando. So I basically did a lot of the blue sky for that expansion, and then I ended up art directing all of the Beauty and the Beast related things. There's a big risk. I'm going to speak like nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so
Yeah,
if you
please.
know this stuff, I'm not being condescending. Sorry,
Yeah, you're good.
if you're already a fan. But there's a restaurant as part of this larger themed area of Beauty and the Beast called Be Our Guest Restaurant. And it's if you're transported to the Beast Castle that happens to be I forget now a number of seats. It's like 600 seat restaurant, sit down restaurant. And then we have this village that accompanies it with Gastons Tavern, which is a smaller eatery, take away food, a retail experience. And then part of my job too is sort of realizing the space there, which might include to build out that area, could include area restrooms, we call them. And then, so I kind of handle the look and feel and the design of that. And I work with super talented people. If you don't know anything about Imagineering, there's over 100 disciplines there, everything from artistic to engineering, whether we're talking ride engineering, whether we're talking structural engineering, whether we're talking air conditioning and heating engineering. We got all of them, and,
Yeah.
And then we've got, architects, we've got writers, we've got sculptors. I think a lot of the disciplines that you see there at Imagineering, like sculptors, it's not too dissimilar from what I would imagine folks like the Four Horsemen do. They're both at where I work. They're both traditional with their hands sculpting as well as digital. And we've got everybody else. We got writers, we got the lawyers, we got it all. We got music production, the whole nine yards. So I did that work that you see here. That was my charge. Some of my work that I actually I still got to use my hands and draw things. That's one of my designs right there for these gargoyles that his name's Fred, that sort of flank you as you walk down the bridge to the entrance of the restaurant. Awesome. And then another part of this Beauty and the Beast area, I guess, that has some notoriety is something called Enchanted Tales with Belle, and it's a kind of an interactive experience with Belle and this really cool Lumiere that all brought to life through magic, of course. And it's got a very cool sequence, a little magical transformational sequence, and you walk through this mirror on the wall that grows and does all this cool stuff, and you transports you to the castle. So that, and then I did a couple other things over there. Very princess heavy, which is ironic because it's not something that I kind of gravitated to as a kid. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I also worked in this other thing called Princess Fairytale Hall, where you meet all the princesses. I worked on probably the fanciest bathrooms there in Magic Kingdom, which are all themed to Tangled and Rapunzel.
I walked into those just so that I could see, just so I could say that I saw the bathrooms you did, and they're awesome.
Yeah, those are Ted's toilets. And so then moving from that, and then I, kind of went back into, my normal kind of like at least my nerd wheelhouse. And so I worked on the first Marvel attraction for the Disney parks called Iron Man Experience, and I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. That's in Hong Kong Disneyland, and it was a little bit of a, it's its own environment. It's as if the Stark Expo, if you saw Iron Man 2, it's as if the Stark Expo after New York, decided to set up shop at Hong Kong Disneyland. So kind of interesting. We'll say more about this later, but it's kind of a story within a story. It acknowledges that it's one of the few times where an attraction acknowledges that it's in a Disneyland park. So the Stark Expo acknowledges that, oh yeah, Tony Stark brought the Stark Expo to Hong Kong Disneyland. And sort of that's the shop. There's also a very cool meet and greet where you meet Iron Man. He kind of flies down and slams his fist down, and the doors open, and he approaches you and whatnot. And then after that, a big one, which was the Tokyo Disneyland expansion, which guests really didn't know about that. But in 2020, the height of the pandemic, there was a delayed opening, but we did a really big project, the largest expansion to Tokyo Disneyland in its history. And that is a very large Beauty and the Beast area. Basically everything I kind of like was involved with in Magic Kingdom, but like imagine it 3 times larger. And then we didn't have a restaurant. Instead, we had what we call in the business an e-ticket, a very large ride called Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast, which is a trackless ride vehicle, and that actually dances. And we got a full-size castle. It's probably one of the few parks, if any, of Disney's that actually has 2 full-size castles. So that's pretty cool. Amazing artisans who work on that and actually bring those things to life. There's the village there. Shops,
Little
restaurants.
town.
Shops.
Sorry.
There it is. It's totally, yeah, that's our job. We bring that movie to life.
Quiet village. Yep.
Yep. And then in the background, if you see those mountains in the back there, that's a big theater called Fantasyland Force Theater. And then one of my proudest moments, and I don't mean that sarcastically because it was actually very cool, is also part of this project was a Minnie's style studio. So if you've ever been to Disneyland in California and you met Mickey in his house, now you meet Minnie Mouse in her location, which happens to be her workplace. She's a fashion designer. So that's Minnie's. So I'm kind of all over the place. And
no, it's great. I just want, I want people to get a sense of the kinds of things that you've worked on. And these are all really recent. I know you've been working there for a couple decades now?
On and off since 97. Yeah.
Whoo. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I jumped around industries. I even kind of followed you when you kind of did the online thing. I, moved away from theme parks and came back into theme parks in 2007. Yep. And beautiful, beautiful, fun stuff here. You walk through that, and there's a little workplace because, of course, she's a professional. Everything's very hands-on, and she has 4 seasonal outfits. So yeah, action figures, right? Just big.
Well, exactly. No, definitely. There's a crossover, and I found that there's people aren't necessarily into Disney in general, like Disney's brands, the princesses, Mickey Mouse, etc. But then oftentimes, there are people who are into the parks though, right? And so it's a weird mix of folks. So no, that's great. Was that it? Was there anything else that you wanted to mention that you're working on recently, or?
Well, I'll mention that, but there's a question here. Is there a bookstore in that village? And there is a store that's themed after the bookstore that Belle goes into in the film, complete with a little bell that rings when the door opens. Oh yeah, it's all there. Very talented creative director that I work with named Jonathan Friday made sure all of those details were in there.
Beautiful. Research.
So yeah, the current thing I'm working on, I've been working on since I moved back from Japan, is this little project called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and that's opening up both the Magic Kingdom and at Disneyland. And it's a good one, I think.
Definitely, it is a good one. At least, and we'll get into that a little bit more later towards the end. Just wanted to, do the internet thing and tease it as we go. But okay, so let's go ahead and start the show proper. After we met our guests, let's talk about the most important folks. Really, is the folks following along in the chat. So we've got Adam, who I was just on a stream with right before this, from Highly Articulated, asking the hard-hitting questions about Belle's books. Is it a bookstore? She just walked in there and gets stuff for free.
Yeah.
I never figured that out.
I get this, but I mean, the dude knows the owner knows she brings the books back. So
True. So. Yeah, and they act like at least she does. It's like she's the only one who reads. Yeah. But anyways, Fan again is here talking Bandai because that will be coming up later. We've got Master Versal Toy Hunter Eldor, whose work we're gonna see in a little bit. I want to make sure I had that in there. Star, what's going on? Great to see you again. Thanos is here to help us along with links. Thank you. Star, thank you for correcting my grammar. While I do have an English credential, it doesn't mean I can speak actual English. RendersFX, who was our guest last week, awesome to see you here, doing some amazing work. Let's see. Ray, great to see you. Cobb, hello. Oh, this part is so fun. Carol, awesome to see you. Thank you so much for dropping in. Game Quest, thank you for being old like me and Ted and recognizing that is an MTV reference, which, MTV News just shut down, I think 2 months ago or something. That was kind of weird, big news, because I guess they'd been continuing it online.
I didn't know it was continuing. That's
exactly. Okay. Or online, or maybe on cable. I don't know. Is MTV still? What do I know? Ray is here. What's up, Ray Paz? Brian Brink is here. Great to see you. And Bud. We got Bud in the house. What's going on, Bud? Have you met Ted? I never watched that show. That's featuring Agent. What is her name from S.H.I.E.L.D.? Anyways, yes, Smulders. So we said Star. Yeah, I'm not a real YouTube host. I just play one on YouTube. Aaron Payne's Toy Samples, good to see you. What's up, nerds? Hey, Georgie's in the house too. Good to see you, little person. And I think we got Travis here. Hexastack, what's up? And I think that is it. Yes, and if you missed Monkey Business, AWOC Talk Live earlier on Adam's channel, Highly Articulated, please go back, check it out. Lots of cool things with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom were revealed, some leaks. We had Jason in on the end, and I don't know if he intentionally or unintentionally confirmed some things that are happening. So well worth the watch. All right, Ted, I haven't said your name like that so many times, and I love that you caught yourself by calling me Brick. But
Professional.
yeah, I know. I do have a name. You can see it here on my Phil's sticker, but yes, that's my real name. Okay, moving on. Let's talk nerdy stuff. So first things first. Housekeeping. You're probably seeing the QR code. I'm sorry, the URL at the bottom. If you go to bit.ly/bricksomethingnews, capital B, capital S, capital news, that'll take you to a page of links that'll go up after the show. And that'll take you right to all the stuff that we're talking about, because we're going to move actually pretty fast, a little faster than usual. I know I say that every time, but we are. And then there's a QR code if you want to use it. With that said, let's go ahead and just start getting into the scene. So first and foremost, last week I talked about Savage Crucible making all these announcements. I know what's funny, as I was prepping for this, Ted, basically this show is what you and I were doing just on messages. It's literally me sending you links and going like, hey, check this out. And I was like, I should just make a show around it. And that's basically what we're doing. So we're doing this version in real time for the internet to see. So I don't know if you remember when I sent you Savage Crucible, when it's just like Kickstarter, right? Sending you concept art and stuff.
Yeah, I do. I do remember that. Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago, maybe year and a half plus. And so now we're finally getting these things. This is a production figure, folks. So they're starting to share. Today was, I think, the first production figure that they've shared on their Instagram before they've been paint masters. So this is from the factory overseas. And so their manager over there has, takes these snaps all the time. When I was with Renders last week, we shared like their live stream where they actually had footage from the factory. So same guys like now sending them photos, like quick style photos, and they look awesome.
Did you support this Kickstarter?
You know the answer to that. And yes, I supported quite heavily this Kickstarter. Man, they're looking just so good. And I just love the movement, right? I'm just keep looking at all the joints and all the different parts. I wonder how fiddly they'll be, but they look like, based on seeing them being handled, they don't look like, they look like they're gonna be just fine. Probably more so. Anyway, what was your general what do you think of this, but also what was your response to the Savage Crucible figures in general that I was sort of sending you?
Well, I remember, however many years ago it was, when a year ago, whatever that was, they only had like illustrated like elevations, and I think they were all like CGI or somewhere on, might have been elevation, right?
Yep.
And then when I look at this, though, it's kind of okay. Now I kind of get it. I'll be honest. At first, I didn't quite get it. It was very diagrammatic. When you see them in that T pose or whatever, so okay, that's interesting, but you really can't find appreciation for this. And I don't remember, like, I think last week you sent me some video that they had that had a full on like intro with like metal, thing.
Yep.
And I think my word to you was like, okay, now I'm excited. I think that is like, there's something about, and I know I'm in the show business stuff, but there's something about when you get the full effect with the music and then awesome artwork. I don't know if it was like flash animation or if it was full on animated, but it looked good. I mean, and now I'm now I have a different lens, and now so when I see this, I can't help think about that cool intro with the metal and all that kind of stuff. So it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, look at the hand poses. Absolutely. Like, I think, getting the brand, and the brand is it's pretty much this, right? It's this, and like swords and all of that. And so what I really appreciate about it is that they went hard on, they definitely have their human characters, but they kind of are building out a world of a bunch of different species. For those of you unfamiliar, the idea is that there's essentially portals that bring people into this world where they fight. I'll just leave it as basic as that. And so there's species from all over different universes, if you will, including Earth. And so it's actually like humans that know about Nirvana. So it's like our world being pulled into this place, but then there's places, species from all over. But anyway, I'm excited. I actually read the comic book while I was staying at your place last year. And they have like just one sort of graphic novel that's out that lays out the story. But at the end of the day, it really is what you saw. It's metal music. It's like heavy metal. It's cool designs, neat creatures, swords, go. Like, sure, there's a story, but...
Yeah, they had me with the metal. So
yeah. And they've got like these side-by-sides here with other production figs. So you've got your Marvel Legends on the left. You can kind of see that's closer to that's a US 112, I guess, which is even truly big for Japanese.
I got that one right here.
Yeah.
So
that answers Ray's question too. But oops, where was it? But yes, he still collects. He was collecting even when I wasn't. When I wasn't quite in the position to be collecting.
Yeah.
But here we have as well as a Mythic Legions to the side of it. You can see it's a little bit bigger. But anyway, and I'm sorry, I hate to ignore the side duck, but yes, bigger, much bigger than your Pokemon. So these are coming out. I'm excited. I am going to get hit so hard in the next couple of months with figures coming in from pre-orders and Kickstarters. And that's a good thing. It's just, yeah.
When it hits, it hits. I just had a couple of big bad toy store things just drop into my pile of loot. You know, it's fun when you get to kind of, I didn't really spend that money. It's all fine now. Then you get the notice like, oh, wow, I guess I just spent a lot of money. Well.
All right. Before we move on to Savage, hey, what's up? Move on from Savage. Hey, what's up, Nick? Thanks for joining. We've got Allison here. Dynamo Dave asks a question for those who are in on Savage Crucible. How are you going to display dioramas, shelving sets, so much detail? Just to answer the question, mine is sort of a mix. I don't have a very good display, but my dream world is to kind of create dios within a bookshelf and have them kind of pull out figures at different times, battling or whatever. So yeah, these are very much like art pieces in my brain. The sculpt is great. The painting is great. The articulation on these is going to be wild compared to many of the things that I have. So, and yeah, just to address the chat, Star, absolutely. That is Billy the Butcher, or is that his name? But it's the Butcher from New Amsterdam. And to simplify it all, if you were wondering what Savage Crucible is, the story premise is it's Fortnite. Everybody comes in and fights. All right. And yeah, if you wanted to know, Travis is going to display his on Hexastack. If you know, you know. All right, let's move on from Savage Crucible. And
here we go.
Okay, so before we go, let's go ahead and address Ray's thing as quickly as we can. What do you collect?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know.
Currently, I have probably like, I don't even know. I haven't counted. Maybe like 200 to 300 maybe collection of Marvel Legends. And I started buying the Marvel Legends when back in the day, you know, what was that, early 2000s when they started. And I was just sort of cherry picking now and again, but I really, you know, then I started cleaning things out, and then I just went all in with a lot of the Hasbro stuff. So yeah, I've got that. I've got a handful of some Black Series. I won't say I collect them, but you know, there's some that are sentimental to me. Sergio mentioned the toy collections that came, you know, before him, and actually it was around Star Wars. You were born, but you were still a baby when Star Wars came around. But yeah, I was a big Star Wars, you know, Kenner collector. Between Sergio and I think we had mostly everything or a lot of things. I still have all of that original collection in a Darth Vader case in storage with all those figures, and got all my weapons. And then I loved G.I. Joe. So, you know, G.I. Joe, I collect G.I. Joe Classified. Now, when I say I collect G.I. Joe Classified, I'm not a completist. So, you know, I handpick things and I customize certain things, et cetera, et cetera. I lean more towards the early era stuff because, you know, I was in middle school when the first comic book came out. I was a huge fan. And so I gravitate towards that stuff before it all started getting all neon-y in the 90s. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just doesn't connect with me nostalgia-wise.
Mhm.
And then I also this is all Brick's fault, but I recently became addicted to Mythic Legions.
Woo!
I even dropped some. I bought a couple Cosmics the other day, but I got to say I wasn't convinced until I saw them like in hand, because if you don't buy these things, you don't start now because it's trouble. But the pictures don't do it justice. I mean, you can see this; it's like it's lining up this snap. But when I saw them, I think
sorry,
it was
Trevor.
collector.
The pictures do it justice, Trevor. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, they're great pictures.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
it's an ongoing joke. It's fine. It's
they're
cool.
great pictures, but like when you see them in person and the attention to detail and the amount of paint apps that go onto these things,
100%.
it hands down, it's like, you know, they're amazing figures.
Yep.
So yeah, I love the Mythic Legions.
That's rad. And so, real quick, our cousin is here too. He can come up a little bit. What's up, cousin?
I know that
all right. So good. So just I wanted to lay that because of the legions of it all. And so I don't know. I think you've seen that. Yeah, you saw that they're doing their retail exclusives, right? Or the retail retail appreciation wave, I think is what this is called, because that's what they've done in the past, where these are figures specifically that will be specifically carried by their approved retailers, not by Four Horsemen. So they're not pre-ordering these through them. And so there's been 4 figures revealed. I don't know if there's going to be more. I think this is pretty much it. But this was the last one that was revealed. Was it yesterday or today? Was that today?
Wait, there was
the whole thing.
4? I think it was yesterday or today, but there's 4? I thought there was only 3. I thought it was
there's 4.
Oh, you're right. It's
Yep.
It's Sun
1, 2, 3, 4.
There they are. Sun Wukong. Right. You're right. Yeah.
So this was the one that was just revealed. Is it today? It's today. 7 hours ago. Yeah, this is today. And so I wanted to start with Trevor's shot, because that one of my favorite things about Mythic Legions is that they are talented people themselves, artists, and they're working with other talented people on staff. And now, so you got Trevor, who does all their photos, and he just does these amazing setups. I love these, showing that it's an army builder, because this is all the same figure. So showing the same figure in different variations, super smart. And of course, the big piece for me on this one is the tattooed head. That's where I was convinced. Although the helmet is dope too. All of them are dope. Look at that. Anyway,
you know, he reminds me of like it's like, who's whatever the name of that villain who reached into your chest and pulled your heart out from the second Indiana Jones movie, but like the skull version of that.
Yeah, totally. I forget his name. Someone will drop it in the chat. You know, I saw that movie up here in San Francisco when I was a kid on a trip with Dad.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yep.
Nice.
In a movie theater that is no longer there. And they put like the temple, they had like a statue of the temple head outside.
That's dope.
Anyway, since you're my brother, you'd have gotten that reference.
Amazing.
So this is really cool. This is a 2.0 skeleton. It's called it's a Viking. What do they call it? There's a name here. I'll do it right here. So this is the undead of Vikenfell. In Mythos, I guess they have something that's Viking-like. So again, these are all going to be through the retailers. This is or I'll go in order. They revealed this one a couple of days ago. This is their retailer exclusive alt version of Figure Obscura's son Wukong, the sort of golden one. There you go.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still feeling the OG. I don't know. I mean, it's not bad what's there, but I really like this.
Yeah, I love them both. I think they're cool. And so this is what Thanos is saying. Brick is a good pusher, man. As they say, first one's always free. What he just showed you was his first one that was in fact free.
That was a gift. That was a gift from Brick. So there you go.
This is cool. Just again, and especially if you didn't get the first one, it's a great way to pick it up. Like there's no bad options. This is really cool. I love the footwear too, the different color variations. And then we've got, then they revealed the Red Death, which is their most recent figure obscura. This is basically a flip kind of colorway where instead of the red soft goods is now black, and then it's like flipped. All the black parts on the original figure are now red, and all the red parts in the original figure are now black. And
I gotta say, I like this version better, man. I really, really do. Yeah,
I think it's
they're
great.
both great, but I think this is a little scarier. I don't know.
I like the robes for sure. The clock is dope too. I love the idea of black robes, but it's cool. I don't know. I doubt they'll be able to fix it, but the first one that came out, the wires weren't as strong as I'd like them to be for soft goods. I suspect they weren't able to fix it in the time that, because this was probably made a year plus ago. But just gorgeous. It's cool.
Is the clock any different? Is it the same?
Painting wise, not sculpt wise. All of these are basically repaints. But yeah, and then you've got the Marley, which is cool, and I'm whack because I still haven't opened mine. But I love that between this one and the Headless Horseman, which was their part of the last retailer exclusives, they kind of went Scooby-Doo with a color style, both on the Headless Horseman and this one.
And what's the special feature
for this one? Yeah. Oh, you mean like the hidden stuff? Oh, no. The glow in the dark. Yeah. The Get D action. Yeah, you've got your glow in the dark action. This face sculpt is fantastic. I really should open this figure. And it comes with all the stuff that the first one did. And I don't know. There's something really cool in that safe. Oh, there it is. You don't got to hide it anymore. They just revealed it. It's that cool alt head that's masked, totally like, what is it? Mask, the Three Musketeers?
Something. Yeah, the guy gets stuck in the tower.
Yeah, Man in the Mask. Anyway, that's the 4 figures. Check them out for the retail. Let's go. I keep saying we'll move fast, and we don't move fast because that's how I do. Other folks, speaking of not moving fast, let's say, hey, ¿cómo está? What's up? Machu is here. We got Kenzo. Thank you for joining us. Rick Jones dropping, correcting us, making sure that we know. It's Mola Ram.
There you go. Thank you.
Yep. And Carol's saying the clock is more, hey Travis, but it's moving on me. It's moving on me. Yes, the clock is definitely more defined in this one. Who is Sergio? Thanks for clarifying. Yes, when I order Phil's coffee, that is me. Sergio Luis, Sergio, that is me. All right, and Stanley's here. Moving on. Monkeys. We're on monkeys right now. Myro Union. So this is like that group that did the tiger, right? The Master Wang. They've done like the Big Crocodile. They've done Veteran Williams. But so they've been doing their own line called Fury Planet, but they have teased this figure already, but this is the first sort of art reveal, and it's Mad Monkey. But it's pretty damn cool. And I want to shout out, they collaborated with Chinese concept designer, illustrator, and cartoonist Liu Dongji to present a unique monkey. So here it is.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah, cool, right? It's like it's Monkey Mad Max, Mad Monkey, right? And clearly this thing will move. It's Myro Union, so the sculpt is there, the paint's gonna be there. Like these are this figure, the Blade Master Wang and the Veteran Williams, in my mind, are like it's the same level of attention to detail as your Four Horsemen will get you, with a little bit like they definitely are pushing articulation more, I think mainly because they're a newer line and they're not, working on stuff that's been around for years, and just a different, I think, perspective on articulation. So love the paint. This is available on Gundamit for pre-order, but they still don't even know the price. But I say that because, man, I have a type. I don't know why. I was just telling Adam this, like, and clearly the toy gods have heard me because I've been into this whole animal kick, and Myro Union is all about it right now. They're doing this is part of that Fure Planet line. And they teased the concept art for this woman, cat. She's a leopard, martial artist, assassin type thing. And this is just a tease that they posted 2 days ago of the leopard. Her name is Yo. Interesting. I get a little distracted by certain parts of the sculpt that I just think it's like, whoa, but hey, cool.
Well, they know it sells, I guess. Well, does she have like a mask? Is it a mask she's wearing?
She does,
right.
and I think
okay.
And there will be, I think there's an unmasked version from the concept art, if I remember. Got tiny, tiny little Liefeld feet though. So I was worried about that with Master Wang, that he wouldn't be able to stand, but maybe they know something I don't. But just, again, cool animal thing. I don't know how I got into that. I become the purveyor of all animal creatures, but cool to finally get a woman in the line. And then, of course,
wow,
if you didn't have enough Sun Wukong, Monkey King in your life, you and I were chatting about this, and other folks have been like, damn, there's a lot of Sun Wukong. And, kind of been like, my thing is like, jokingly, they got to catch up to Batman, right? Because like McFarlane and his million Batman figures, and of course, every licensor who has a DC has got Batman for days.
Right.
But then also, like, I think I said to you, Mickey Mouse, right? Like, this is Mickey Mouse, but like hundreds of years older. No, more than hundreds of years older. 1400 or something like that years older. And so given that, and it's a story and a character that I think has resonated with all sorts of different age groups and people, different parts of the world. And like that following has only grown. And the thing is, it's like never gone away. We just didn't realize it, right? Whether it was the Goku from Dragon Ball, or you and I. Do you remember what our first, what I think was our first?
Star Blazers, was it?
Not Blazers.
Not Star Blazers. The Star.
It was Star Avengers and Space Cateers, depending on what you say.
Space Cateers.
Yeah,
but
Star Avengers.
I do remember. Right, I did actually see an animated version of this story.
Yeah,
like on
that's what I thought.
For those of you who grew up in Southern California back in the day, the family film festivals, Saturday afternoons, and
Fred,
with Tom Hatton.
Tom Hatton.
He used to play a lot of like foreign like sci-fi and fun kitchens, and that was actually my first like real like look at Sun Wukong, but they just called him the Monkey King. And something you said about the whole comparing it to Mickey Mouse and Batman. The thing about it, if it's spread over 1,400 years, this character kind of warrants, I guess, all of the different interpretations, right? I mean, like how many different versions of Batman have there been? And if you look at the, Steamboat Willie to where Mickey is today to where he's in the park, I mean, there's so many different interpretations. So it makes sense.
It totally does. And I think the other thing I tagged on to my sort of like when people have been asking about like, why are there so many Sun Wukong? The other piece is this is like toy company, especially like small toy company gold, in that it's a character that has a huge following that is in the public domain. No license required. Make a toy. There's probably, and people will recognize it. So,
right.
Anyway, I think it's dope. Before I move on, I want to appreciate Carol and acknowledge, hey, thank you for signing up to be a member. And like, yeah, that's a whole thing. Super chats is there. Memberships is there. Thank you. And it totally helps me continue the channel. And it's just awesome to know that folks are down to one, watch the stuff, two, willing to sign up to be members. And for all the members that are here, if you go to the YouTube page on the channel, there's some information there about memberships. There's a form, and I'll put it out on the community tab too. Please fill out the form because I want to get you some stuff. And so like when you sign up to become a member, I'm giving folks stickers and some other stuff, and depending on what tier you join in. But the only way I can do that, because YouTube doesn't do a good job of this, I have to like collect people's contact info. So thank you, Carol. Welcome to the club, I guess, the non-exclusive come through and hang out club, and we're there. So, all right. And there's a quick conversation. People are asking, like, are people still like Are pretty much everybody sculpting digitally, or is anyone doing it by hand? And people have already sort of answered it. Very few things are sculpted by hand now. Um, fun fact: Four Horsemen all started. Mythic Legions started as all sculpted like traditionally, old school, and then that switched over at a certain point. And if you go back to look for interviews with Eric Treadaway talking about it, it's pretty interesting to sort of hear him talk about the differences and how that even kind of switched up his design approach. Like doesn't draw much anymore as a result, because jumping straight into the sculpting process. So, but there is definitely folks who still do some stuff, like Rick Jones points out, Mondo, and a bunch of like, people, different parts of the world, they do things differently. So there are still some folks, but what are you gonna say?
We my business, what we do is a lot of sculpting in what we do, a lot of dimensional things. So we do both. And it's really kind of like really the right tool for the job, right?
Yep.
So like, but we have people on staff, sculptors on staff who do both, who do both clay maquettes to large foam sculptures, and then they'll also sculpt in ZBrush. Yeah, it's typically someone I saw a ZBrush over there. So it's kind of the right tool for the right job. It makes sense to me in this, for like the toy world, you know what I mean, where you're having to deal with not just from the art part of it, but from the engineering part of it, right? It's easier to sort of like control what pieces fit together and this and that digitally than it is if you're mocking up things physically. So that makes sense.
And you can tweak, and now with rapid prototyping, you can make adjustments. And then, as Adam points out, so much of toy making is outsourced now, and most people aren't working from a central location. So 3D sculpts allow for quick sharing and editing across great distances. Absolutely. And I think until I became a creative myself, you mentioned the online, like my own graphic design background and web stuff, and even like watching your career, folks also don't realize that like not everyone's necessarily an employee, and people do contract work all the time. So which is why in some of the larger companies especially, you will almost never know who designed what, and you just kind of have to follow sculptors, and they'll share stuff on their portfolio, and you'll figure out, oh yeah, that person did this. So anyway, and because of, what do you call it? The internet and the ability to kind of do things remotely now too. That it just is a thing. We got Fan again back. Got in a little late. He was actually here first and then came back. Hey Ted, so you're the guy that got Brick into Micronauts. I'm not sure how true that is. Do you remember?
It's kind of, I think you kind of just fell into it your own. I don't think I influenced you. I just had some of the stuff,
right.
What I mean? I don't think I pushed it on you, but
no. But do you remember how like you couldn't remember where that box came from? We had a box of Micronauts, and you couldn't quite remember where the box came from.
Right. So like in the early 70s or mid 70s, when that stuff came out, maybe you were born. I had like, the original, a couple of the stuff on cards. Like I had a time travel, I had an acquire, but as I found out, it wasn't just me, that these things broke pretty easily. Because I was living in Japan, I had some workmates who had, talking about where these things actually came from. It's like, oh yeah, you remember those? They broke really easily. I'm like, thank you. It's not just an American thing.
Nope.
So the box, but then I had a bunch of other things. Like I had the Baron Karza that my dad got me, and then somehow I got one of I forgot what they're called, but the guys who comes in the little like Egyptian style sarcophagi.
Spheroids.
One of those. Spheroid. I had a spheroid. But what you're talking about.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted the spheroids. You, me, and our cousin who was living with us. Yeah. We all got spheroids at the same time. Do you have? I know you, because this guy remembers like the store and like has also. Do you happen to remember where those came from? When
they were from Toys R Us. I got the gray one. I think you had the blue one. And I think Gil got the orange one. Was there an orange one? It's kind of like, I don't know.
So yours was the gray one,
warm color, or maybe red. I don't know.
I forget. It's like a brownish, actually. A beige-ish. The beige-ish body, and I think he might have had a different color. Anyways, whatever. Sarcophagus.
Anyway. So the box you're talking about is about that big like vehicle that sort of split apart like the Fantastic car, from Fantastic Four, but much cooler looking. And that came from our Uncle Rod and Uncle Rod or Uncle Sonny. And I don't know how this fell into their lap, you know what I mean? But it did. And we'd go over to our grandparents' house where some of them lived, and we started playing this thing. And next thing you know, we were taking it home. And that's kind of how we got our mishmash of Micronauts toys. So
That box didn't just have the battle cruiser; it had a bunch of stuff in there, including the Force Commander's white horse that you could put onto your Baron Karza.
Mhm.
There was I forget what they were called. Oof, I'm forgetting now, but there was another company that later re-released the things. Fanigan would know, under a different name. They used the same molds, but released them in different plastics. It was the hydrocopter, but we had the yellow version. Anyways, so yes, let's not go down the Micronauts any further, because I think Star's head will explode, and we did that. All right, but let's go to another digital space. Tron, like, this is the thing that it 100% is more about the concept in my head than it was the actual movie as a kid. It was just more of like what it was, even though I love the original movie. But anyway, I've always been intrigued by and in love with Tron. So like when Disney, they used to have the people mover where you go into the world of Tron.
Oh yeah,
dude, I was
the
there
light
till
cycles.
till the end of its run, when they close it down and turned it into that cycles thing and then brought it back. Man, I was going on that, and whoever I was with at the time, who I was bringing to Disneyland with me, was always like, really, do we got to ride the people mover? I was like, yes, we have to ride the people mover. I need to see Tron. So this is glowing ghosts concept. Just like, hey, I want to, like, I wish these were real, folks, but they're not. They're glowing ghost here. The glowing ghost, Tristan Miller, doing concepts, and just, again, probably an aspiring toy maker throwing this out there. But I love I love this, man. Like, it's so different than when I was doing, creative work. Now that you have social media, you can kind of like put your foot out there, right? Show your work. It's a little bit work on spec, but throw out there what you can do. And I love that this is meant to be the kids line with like these tiny little 5 POA figures that you carry in like a USB type, like a USB fob or whatever. And then you've got, let me go. You've got the more adult collector figures that come in the real collector packaging, Tron Grid Heroes. This is fully their concept, not based on anything that Disney or whoever's holding the rights. I know it's Disney, but whoever else has any rights to it. This is a fully made up character called Trilobite, who was like a hunter, program hunter. And this is Player One is the name of the character, which I love. And it's just so cool. And like, I would totally grab something like this. But wait for it.
It's interesting. You know what's interesting? I don't want to sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
No, go for it.
What's interesting is I remember because I'm old enough to have been in the theater when this came out. What was interesting to me, and I noticed this really early on when the toys came out, and I think they were made by Tomy, I want to say originally, maybe not, with the zip light cycle, 5 points of articulation. They took artistic license because in the film, they look closer to this, right, where it's like mostly white and then red, glowy, or blue lines.
Right,
the
more
toy
close
flipped
to
around to that translucent, right?
Yes.
And so what's funny about that is like cinematically, I know these aren't accurate, but that's wrong. But because the toys came out that way, that's kind of what I have the nostalgia for. Even though it's like that's not what they look like in the movie or the film, even the animated series a while back that was really, really good. But I like this look. There's something about that translucent plastic that's really really cool.
Yeah, you and highly articulated have that in common. Anything translucent. But no, you're 100% right that the toys made it more like digital, well, no, it's a word, but transparent, but trying to get that, I guess, digital feel. And it's so funny how that interplay of toy and actual movie. These are such cool concepts too, right? I think it's like, what an original take on it. And then of course there's that vehicle. Trilobite has a vehicle called the Hard Drive, which is rad. Very matrixy a little bit. You got, different colorways. This is Player One's version because he hijacks and of course the colors change.
That's cool.
So anyway, Glowing Ghost, good stuff. Definitely check it out. I love Tron, and the best part is, as people have pointed out, so like, yeah, I agree with Highly Articulate. I actually really liked Tron Legacy and was hoping for more. But the good news is they're doing this. Imagineering just created a whole new, not whole new, brought overseas. Was it Shanghai Disneyland?
Shanghai Disneyland
had a Tron roller coaster that they then brought over to Florida that finally opened recently. And so there's like buzz of like, hey, Tron's still a vibrant property. And I know it's always been hard to kind of like, because Tron Legacy didn't do that well, but they are doing this. At least it's in pre-production and kind of has been for a while. But I think Jared Leto's involved. It's called Tron Ares, I think is what it is. At least that's maybe the production name. So anyway, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this. I'm hyped for people talking about it, and I'm hyped for the potential movie.
And if you guys, if any of you haven't seen that animated series, I don't even remember what it was called.
Yes.
It came out like a couple of years. That was excellent. But I forget what it was called now.
Not Tron Resistance, I forget. But that was great, and they were building that up to be like to build out the world and stuff. But that was fantastic. It's on Disney Plus. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And I agree with Game Quest.
I should know.
I know. No, you shouldn't. I just need a great Tron figure and that bike. 100% Game Quest. I'd be super happy with them. Tron Rising was what it was called, but it was actually Tron Uprising. Tron Uprising. Great. Cobb, thank you so much. Dope. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you so much. Let's get away from Tron. You know what? My big thing with Tron Ares, I just hope they kind of get away from the old cast too and the characters a little bit. Anyway, moving on. Masterversal Toy Hunter, who is here and was here. There he is. Eldor is like one of the most talented people I know, man. Just like it clearly in that brain, just needs to produce. And if you take a look at his page, everything from drawing to creating sculptures of giant dragons. And so I wanted to focus on these latest thing that he put out there, because for the Masters of the Universe fans, and this is for Benji. I don't know if Ben's still in here for this guy. Because so Ted and I had Star Wars, Kenner Star Wars. We had G.I. Joe. And then in theory, we were supposed to only collect those, right? According to mom and dad. But then you'd convince Benji's mom to somehow you go out with Benji's mom one day and come home with a He-Man figure. And I was like, I want a He-Man figure. And then I get Skeletor and that. And the rest is history. But we only had a handful.
Yeah.
Benji, this guy, still has a gigantic, mostly complete, minus the stuff that was only released in Europe, collection that's up in the Pacific Northwest now. And in that collection are these figures, Rock-On and Stondar. The rock people from Geolon that we learned from Motu Revolution. And these are all original characters by Eldor. Definitely give me the old school like Mattel concept art kind of vibes.
Totally.
With complete with names.
Listen, you and I went to art school, and illustration, graphic design. And this is right up my alley, man. I appreciate hand drawn stuff, especially this AI stuff. But this is really good. Wow, this is amazing.
And he's got the transformations too. So this is what it was. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but you'd basically bend the character over and you become a rock. But like they were basically the same looking rock. I appreciate this is Jada Rock. This is Rock Samurai of Geolon. I appreciate Eldor like up in the concept, right? And like giving us different rock formations. Super cool stuff. And you can kind of see it's like, like totally hand drawn in the spirit of the folks who used to do these back in the day. Christagma, the elemental sorceress of Geolon. Did I miss it? There it is. There's the rock formation. form of a stalagmite. You got
I love that all, because weren't the original toys all the same sort of roundish rock?
Yeah, just a rock,
So
almost like a
what's
meteor.
cool here. I like that they're all different shaped rocks. You know, I mean,
Yep.
that's really, really cool. Yeah.
And they each have like a full-on background. Like this is the master of weapons and stone forging, Magsidian, who forms a mini volcano. I lost track. Did it show it already? There it is. Look at that. I love that.
That's awesome.
You've got Boldar, the brave rock soldier of Geelon. Sort of the brave rock. Yeah.
That name is totally on brand.
Uh-huh. And then of course you gotta have a playset, dude.
Wow.
Planet Geelon playset. You can totally see the built-in action features, and oh my god, it's so much fun. Just love it. I showed his Castle Grayskull here on a news episode with him and Oz back in the day, and I was so into that. But this one is like next level, including a vehicle.
Yeah. Dude, any playset that allows vehicles to go inside or out of it already,
Yes.
you know, has already like checks a bunch of like nostalgia boxes for me. That's awesome.
Yep. Oh, let's name some. Actually, there weren't too many that had playsets that allowed them in. The only one I'm thinking of is the G.I. Joe base that had the space for the Mobat. Like a special.
Yeah, but that actually didn't even like roll in the front. You had to roll it in the back, which was kind of lame. Well, I mean, okay, I'll go.
Technically, it was an elevator, so maybe it came up above ground.
I had you know, one of my oldest play sets was the Bat Cave, the Mego Bat Cave. The vinyl with the cardboard, you fold it up with the cloth covered Mego characters. That was the first one. That had a Batmobile. Well, the Batmobile could go in and out of that. There were some we didn't have this, but the Cobra Terrordrome.
Terrordrome had the thing in the middle.
Okay, that's well. No,
it had doors all along the side, but they go into a space that's about this big. You can't actually fit vehicles.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's right. That was a hole in our as a gap in our collection. We never got that.
Yeah, that was your buddy Nari Kwan who had that. Yeah,
I was just gonna say Nari Kwan had it, and we used to put his hamster and make it like climb through the little crevices of that thing. Anyway,
hands down, Terrordrome is one of the classic play sets of all time.
Don't stop watching. Keep watching. It's good stuff. Hey, for real. Well done, Eldor. Fantastic work. So cool. Yeah. But man, there's cool stuff everywhere. This guy, Ray Keys, actually he's got a Juri Pranjik, has been in the process of building this 3D printed Voltron, all transformable, definitely gluing parts together. He's been working on it for a while, but this is 3 days ago put this update that it's the first time we're kind of seeing them combine into the lower body. We've seen the Black Lion already, and I'll kind of share those. Check that out. All 3D parts.
Is this based on the Netflix? Is this based on the newer Netflix show?
You know what? I wasn't even paying attention. It looks like it though. But the heads seem thinner than I don't know. Honestly, I know that it's not classic because I have that in my brain, but but I don't know enough if the Netflix Voltron, what exactly it looked like. So yeah. You know what kids love? Rocks. Let's make a line of action figures that turn into rocks. Then what? They just turn into rocks. It's like a big, remember Big in the building? Yeah.
Except those sold though, and then those guys. You know, all those toys have gimmicks, right? People love gimmicks. You know,
they do. Gimmicks, you know? As I get older and boring, I could care less, truly. But I'm boring. But this is cool, and just so you know, in the links that you'll see eventually, and I know Thanos has been awesome about dropping them. Thank you again, Thanos. Like this is the IG, and you can see it's been for a while, and just if you're not into Voltron, but are just like a nerd and like really curious about how people make things, or from the art side of things, the engineering side of things, check it out.
Wow, look
a
at
lot of cool stuff for you to check out, as well as non-Voltron stuff. So, cool stuff. Oh, it might have even been. Oh yeah, it might have been even AI. Yeah, it was an AI generated design So that way
okay.
he can just make it, I guess. And even though technically it's still Voltron, but anyway, yeah, it's wild what people can do now, right? Oh man, sorry. Let's just real quick. Oh yeah,
These are great drawings. Ooh.
absolutely. Okay, we should move. Grim Spectre, one of the artists working on Brutal Realm, released this 3 days ago. I know I've been sort of slowly teasing out every week a little bit something about Brutal Realms, but as people know, I'm just really intrigued by the line. I love fantasy lines in general. Obviously, I have this thing for half naked men, buff men, apparently. But brand new line, different buck, like big, thick, but also doing subject matter that's very different. This dude, based Ogun, based on Yoruba culture, and there's other ones. Just wanted to share this and give us a sense of the aesthetic they're going to go with the paint, because this is their paint master. Any
it's interesting. Yeah. You know what's interesting about this, and you in going back to what you're showing with the Fury planets and the Mad Monkey guy, and then even back in the Savage Crucible, it's kind of interesting. And I know you're totally in a walk too, in a Mythic. There's like this weird spectrum with, especially with all of these sort of like these niche companies, not the Hasbro's, not this, but of like a similar kind of interest in all things kind of fantasy. Whether you define that by D&D standard, Dungeons and Dragons standards, or whatever standards. But it's interesting in all the sculpts, right? It's kind of like you have that, like there's a spectrum of like totally realistic and stuff like this. It's a bit more stylized, right? Like the sculpt here is not made to look, accurate like the Mad Monkey kind of looking guy, or even the Savage Crucible thing. So it's kind of interesting. I just find it interesting that did you have like this a little bit more, I would call this a little bit more comic booky, it's almost, almost towards the Marvel Legends end, but extreme, but it's the same subject matter that kind of relates more to what the Mythic and the Four Horsemen type of people might be, kind of doing. So it's interesting.
It is. I don't know. I'm into, I'm just into toys, right? So, and genre stuff in general, like, genre fiction. And so I am all over the place, but it's weird how I landed in this place. And I've always said, we were saying that Benji had the Motu collection. I've always been into those toys. I'd go to his house, and that was like usually the first thing, that and maybe his Thundercats collection that I'd start playing with. And probably a lot of it was because we didn't have them, right? So I was always intrigued by that. But even as a kid, it was like, I'd go down to that corner place to rent videos. And even as an older kid, it was like, I'd for some reason bring home barbarian stuff, right? Like Beastmaster, Red Sonja, Conan, and I don't know why. I was intrigued by it, but it is kind of neat to see people doing it, and also again, always just intrigued by how toys are made and different options. So yeah, pointing out that they've got very like import style joints, very like Storm Collectibles. Actually, look at even the shapes of the knees and stuff. But anyway, cool stuff. Fanigan's not sure how he feels about the quads, but otherwise, this guy does great sculpts. Oh man, that's bringing me back to PE. What are the quads again? That's quadriceps. That's what part? Is that this here? What are the quads? Do you know?
I think it's
those might be lats.
Those are lats. Those are laterals. Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Good. I'm proud of you. I'm glad you don't know. No, what do I know? Okay, moving on. Had Belle from Micronauts, the combat creatures, come on the channel a couple weeks back, and just 3 days ago, he's just sharing that like development continues, even though he has essentially gotten us to like, buy the first wave. Clearly, they're getting new characters, as well as working on this guy, testing out some big things for combat creatures. So don't have much to say about it other than rad, right? This is like, remember that G.I. Joe? It was in the cartoon, but there was like a big mech like this.
Yep, totally. What scale is that? What scale are these little main characters?
The main character is about the size of a Masterverse or an Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
Oh wow, they're big.
Yeah. I don't know what this is though. These are just prototypes, so I don't know that this figure right here is prototyped to the size of the figures that they just kickstarted. So he could be working smaller too for prototype purposes. But you can see the relationship, and this is meant to fit inside. So
Wait, just so we're clear, the little guy is the size of like a Mythic Legions Savage Crucible guy.
Yeah. So
this thing's like big,
like the Mezco. Do you remember you remember seeing the Mezco?
Yeah.
Mech.
This is, I remember that, but I think this is even bigger. That's amazing. Holy moly.
Yeah, maybe. So they're 6.5-inch figures.
Yeah.
These are the figures.
That's a lot of plastic. Okay.
I mean, he's not saying that in production. He's kind of like, maybe testing some ideas out, but I should bring him back on to kind of talk a little bit more about it, but just kind of cool. I don't know is anybody here in the chat backed as well? Because I did. Ray's saying that was supposed to be an unlocked tier for the Kickstarter, but never hit. Oh, was the giant mech? Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize that was something we'd never achieved. But anyway, and FYI for the anatomy section of the class, that's right above the knees. Yes. And thank you guys.
Well, it's because I always skip leg day, so it's all fine.
Yeah, totally. I skipped PE completely. So Ray is asking if you've ever checked out Mafex or Mezco. I think you have a Mezco, but it's like mine, like the Mezco that isn't truly a Mezco figure. It's the what's his name? The green dude?
The green guy. Yeah, the mossy guy. Yeah.
Mosquatch.
He's awesome. Yeah, Mosquatch.
But that doesn't totally capture what a Mezco figure is like. But yes, definitely worth checking out because I know you're looking for more things to buy. The snake guy. Oh yeah, the smaller snake guy. Gotcha, Ray. Yes, the smaller snake guy was potentially a thing, but not the mech, right? Right on, Ray. So did I. We're both spending money. Hey, I don't know if Benji's here, but Benji is like one of those kids in the 80s was able to convince his parent to buy him this thing. This is the new thing. And so I just wanted to share it in the news because these have hit. They sold for like $500, $550, I think, on Mattel Creations. And, one of those successful crowdfunds of a grail that many people didn't buy. I think there was only there's some ridiculously small production number. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but like I've heard, different people that were involved in Mattel back in the day and currently say things like it was not necessarily even meant to truly be purchased. Like in some ways it was like a way to get people in the store and chatting about things. You remember like they'd be up there in the Toys R Us aisle hanging above your head and then they'd have a little tag.
Yep. Ticket desk.
Yep. Which I know you worked at in
college for a little bit. Yeah.
Fullerton. But
yep.
So people are getting this and it's surprising people because it's much bigger than they could envision, I think. So this one is like, I was speaking with another Ted over on the GTFO channel. We interviewed Ted Biaselli from about Masters of the Universe Revolution. And he was saying that he had just been to Mattel and was surprised too at how tall these things are because these things were scaled not just for Origins, but they showed it that they're meant to also be scaled for Masterverse, the bigger 7-inch figures. So the floor levels of these are much taller than people anticipated, and I think bigger. Yeah, there you go. There's
there he is, Benj. I know, Benj. I know, dude. I hope you got one, but
I don't think you did.
Well, this is dominating my living room. Well, yeah, because and this looking at it here, there's something almost like religious about this thing. It's kind of like people who have belong to like a religion that have like statues, or you're Catholic or Hindu, whatever it is, and you have that in your house. It feels like you're supposed to pray to this thing. Like
there you go, Thanos. We need some red velvet cloth underneath and some candles. You get some incense there, make offerings to the Eternian gods.
Gods of Eternia. Wow.
Yeah. But I love it. I love the sculpt. So definitely check this out. This is Pixel Dan. Like I know everyone knows Pixel Dan, but like man, like his great thorough breakdown. Just want to throw that there. By the way, let's see if we can talk about that real quick. See that? Did you notice that? I don't know if you heard that. Anyways,
is that real?
I think so. Anyways, nerd. I'm a nerd squirrel. So anyways, I bring this up because one, it's out there. Two, this guy, Bujubu from France, Mega Custom X, released this figure a while back, and you can all 3D printed, resin printed, which is meant to be that lion, right? But he just shared 5 days ago that there's a version 2 coming. Like, this is the time we're living in, man. Like,
it's amazing.
I know the other day I said
the fist is like Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, well, it's the towers from Eternia.
The
Remember
tower, yeah.
There's one that's
and the other one is
one's
the
a
other
snake.
One's the dragon.
Yep, and then there's a lion head, and if spoilers, I'm gonna spoil it because you really need to go watch it. Masters of the Universe Revolution. They showed that potentially there's another tower that has been lost to time for some reason, and that's the Havoc Tower. And so I love that he's going back and adding it in. Just cool stuff. I was saying earlier, we were born in the wrong time, but let's be real. No, we weren't, because it's not like our parents or any parent would buy these toys for their kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're in the right time in that, like, we're adults who can go buy these things now, and
that is amazing.
Rightly or wrongly, spend the money on this stuff. So this is dope. He even said, including the Havoc staff symbol to stick to Revolution mythos.
Wait, dude, you flashed something real quick that like blew my mind. Like
Henry Cavill?
No, on this same thing here, it was like, I think it was Grandizer or something that like he done or something. Is that the same
Grandizer? So I wanted to bring this specifically for you because I know you were a big Grandizer kid. I've shown you this like a while back, and I know it's probably
man.
So there is this, there used to be this forum that is now gone, and people would like propose new characters or whatever. And I think it was from there, or maybe it's just their own sort of like separately, but they put out this idea of like, what if we took Grandizer and blended it into the Masters of the Universe, where, science and sorcery kind of thing, where you've kind of got a person now embodying Grandizer. And this is being featured in a museum exhibit. It says here, he shared this last week.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
All for Goldorak in France.
Goldorak.
Yes.
Goldorak.
Check that out, man. It's so cool. It's Mythic Legions meets. Yeah, it's Mythic Legions meets.
That's incredible.
Anime, like our childhood. This is just such good stuff. The idea of like one gauntlet.
Yeah. Well, and then like the who was the and I'm getting a vibe off of that fur cape. There was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon with a guy. He was like a superhero, like barbarian guy. Come on, help me out here.
Yeah, I forget this all the time when I look at it. He was
not the Herculoids.
No. He was his own thing, and he had a little kid that was with him, and there was a bird, Mytor, the mighty Mytor.
Mighty Mytor, and he had that fur, and he had the horns, and I'm getting that vibe from this. Yeah.
Yep.
Mytor. So yeah, amazing.
This is what it would have looked like if it came from that old school manga, right? This is an artist. Wow. Freddie, hey Adam, didn't share your business there, but Freddie Dermigian did this illustration that is totally old school 70s manga.
That's spot on. And that monster is from he's from the Grandizer series. Yeah.
Yep. Oh God, what was the name of the Grandizer pilot? Pop quiz, because I love that guy, and his freaking helmet was dope. Oh yeah, here you go. Thanos was dropping Mytor, and not Thundar, but love to Thundar, because definitely that fur.
Oh yeah, I love Thundar. That's something that's ripe for someone to make toys of. Thundar.
Yep. Oh yeah, if you want to pray to your Eternia, praise motherboard. Anyway, moving on. I'm glad you saw that. Okay. Yeah, man, there's so much. Immortal Hulk. So this is wait, I forget if I put this in the scene. If I didn't, so here's some backstage stuff. I'm trying to remember if this is a new section or not that it truly matters. Oh no, it is. Okay. So this is a review that just dropped today, Toys in Motion. Great channel. Here, actually, let me just show you real quick how great it is. This is the dude, but at the end you get to see
I love
him.
This guy. He's funny. Yeah.
You get to see him play with swords.
I love this guy. He does Mythic reviews too. He's super enthusiastic about it. Yeah.
If for all of you who signed up to be a member of my channel, you may want to reconsider because this is the guy who maybe is doing it right. I don't have enough swords. This guy's awesome. The reason I'm sharing it though, especially for you, because I know you love the Hulk. He's got this diamond.
I love this figure. I have this. This figure is like the hands down best Hulk figure. I have this back in
Really?
California,
You like this better than the
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Better than that anniversary one? I have the anniversary one that you grabbed from me.
I mean, here we go, right? Here we go.
Yeah, it's a cool figure.
So this is the red version, the red Hulk version of sorry, spoiler alert, General Ross.
Yeah, go read some comic books.
As using that original green sculpt. And I said I wasn't going to get this guy because I had the Marvel Legends version that was made with this guy. But it's too good. It's too good. I mean, what's really wild.
Does he move though compared to that anniversary Hulk? Because I love the way that the butterfly on that.
He doesn't have the cool butterflies in the back.
Okay,
so he can't do it. But I mean, he definitely he's he moves.
Cool
stuff going on. Yeah.
I think he looks great. Well, imagine if you took that and put a custom head on it to make this.
Oh my God. All right, now
told you.
All right, to the eBay. Hold on.
Right?
You gotta get on eBay. You gotta go find this. I gotta go find this head on Etsy or eBay, whoever do it. That's fantastic.
He walks away. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's great. I met Lou Ferrigno.
Did you?
Do my job. Yeah.
Oh wait, was that at the Stan Lee thing? Or was that separately?
That Stan Lee event that I did. Yeah. Nice guy. Really nice guy.
We'll get to that, I swear, even though it's 5:49. But yeah.
This is fun.
So this is rad, but then check this out. Tell me if this doesn't give you Disney vibes. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh wow. Totally.
That Yeti.
Wow. Yeah. Go ahead.
So this is the Arctic, the ice troll from Mythic Legions, but with this custom head that is totally Matterhorn, looking.
Snowman.
It's not quite. Yeah. It's definitely its own unique sculpt, but apparently, so Trollhead Studios. This is also his site from Toys in Motion. They sell custom heads. So basically, I'm $30 less wealthy because I'm and I was gonna try and sell my ice troll too because I have a forest troll and I forgot what the red one's called, but no, I mean
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think this is better. I think this is better than than the
heads that it came with.
I love. Yeah, I'm obviously a Horseman and Mythic Legions fan, but I like this a lot. This is great.
So anyway, there it is. I love it. The only bummer, of course, is that he's not furry all over. So it's cool. Whatever. It's
still works.
Yeah, it is. I think that's probably why he put that big fur. So anyways, yeah, good stuff. We've got 80th Hulk is my favorite, hands down. I keep saying it, Ray. I'm with you. Hanna-Barbera, give me some Ruby Spears, but definitely all those like Alex Toth. Did
Alex? Yeah, it's actually Alex Toth.
Toth.
I was corrected.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's. I forget which Eastern
he's
European
the designer.
He's from. He's the designer. If you
the designer of all those do it.
Yep. No, but what you were gonna say. So we talked about Mytor. We're talking about Hercules.
Yep.
Blue Falcon, Space Ghost, Johnny Quest. That's all Alex Toth. Yeah, amazing. And
yep.
big influence on me, like when I was in art college and drawing stuff. So yeah, for sure.
And Jack Kirby worked with them too, or was it Ruby Spears? It might have been both, because he definitely did Thundar. Kirby did a bunch of character designs for Thundar. He may have worked at Hanna-Barbera. I'm forgetting which now, but he had so many characters. I was reading about it because he at one point was so frustrated with the whole thing, like they would never kind of run with some of his stuff. He'd just start throwing garbage at them, like garbage characters. And anyways, but still all looking real cool.
That's great.
So, okay, moving. Oh, wait, real quick. Ray is saying it's maybe Eternia you're talking about. That thing is massive. Oh, no, it was the Monster Hide figure by Loose Collector, who does the Trece figures and
Yeah.
Dole.
Yep.
And the werewolves that both you and I, you got the werewolf, right? The black werewolf, or not yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I pre-ordered it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a huge figure, and Ray's saying that thing is massive, and so much so that oh wait, and so Star saying, yep, he got hurt lifting with his back and not his legs, and I'm using that to go back to the quads. Wait for it. Wait, never mind. Okay. So and yes, he's the Yeti. Maybe yes, and Jack Kirby worked there as well. Yep. All right. Exactly. Moving on. I think this is the last of the scene section. CB Make is just a brilliant customizer and mostly Mythic Legion stuff, but there's other things as well. I've shared a bunch of their stuff here on the channel. So CB Make, and B does this amazing stuff. He did this custom torso that is actually, there's a character from Journey to the West, the Sun Wukong stuff, that is like these crab people that are, I think Noda's making versions of it, but it's cool. You can just like, because of the pop and swap of Mythic Legions, you can do this kind of stuff. And you know, there they are. It's fun and cool. And, you know, if you're into the whole like weird creature funky stuff, that'll definitely stand out on your shelf. Check it out. Just wanted to share that, like, he also has a dope eBay store, CB Make, and just like you just could go on forever. And I know you're looking at Legion stuff. Like, this is one that was going to do too with mine, but
wow. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's CB Make, and we should probably move on, because damn, there's so much to talk about. But yeah. All right. Anything about CB Makes that you want to say? Sorry, you're so rude of me.
No, it's not. No, you're not being rude. It's amazing. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just it's endless, right? I mean, and I think it's you and I've talked about this. It's super admirable and incredible, like how people kind of, you know, can kind of jump on something and kind of make it their own, you know, and expand on a universe, and what the Four Horsemen have done. And it's almost like I know you've talked about this before, but like the sort of like the micro economy that they've created of just these other creators now just adding their own sort of take on things. And I think it's cool. Like you said, you know, we're living in this time now where people can kind of like, if they got a vision, like we you know, they can actually make it happen. You know, like Fanigan, right? Let's make him a thing. You know, that's awesome.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then now, you know, we have the way for you to like learn about stuff on the internet, and dorky people like me talking about stuff on the internet. And then you've got Kickstarters to help you raise the capital you need to make it happen. Ugh, freaking wild. So it's not only that though, right? It's not just the like, hey, there's lots of cool like toys and people can make stuff, but it's also like the stuff that we can watch now and sort of see, which brings me to the next section, which is viewing pleasure. Just real quickly, not going to spend too much time, but just want to share some things that I've been watching, that I know you've been watching, that I think are good and I would recommend. This is not genre per se, but this is called The Bear, and it's a little bit different, you know, a little bit different for my audience, I know, but this is, have you heard of this at all? The Bear on FX? Okay. No. So the way that I guess I would pitch it, what Ted Lasso did for the football setting, I think this in some ways is somewhat similar for restaurants. So I don't know if Benji's still here, because that's his jam, right? As a chef, but it's set in Chicago, and it's still comedic like Ted Lasso, but definitely a lot more dramatic, I guess. And there's multiple reasons to bring this up, but the lead actor, this dude, is fantastic. And I don't know that I should share that one for copyright reasons, but check out The Bear. I don't know if folks have seen it. I'll just recommend that. yeah, again, restaurant, high paced. You know, my partner and I watch it all the time, and we're both super into it. The other one is this. You were sharing with me,
Oh
telling
yeah.
me to go check out Onimusha,
Oh
which
yeah.
is I didn't. Did you realize it was a video game?
I didn't until you said that. But yeah, this
Capcom.
has such amazing.
Capcom.
Yeah, and I keep okay. So again, art background, and I work in art to a degree, but like the art direction in this is amazing, and the
It
fight choreography, incredible. It's that, you know, it's like a lot of the new anime, right, where it's the CGI, but they, you know, the CGI 3D models, but they make it look 2D, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
not too different from like, you know, the, you know, Into the Spider-Verse movies, etc. With Miles Morales. But really, really, really amazing, great story, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Except it gets a little graphic, but
It does, but yeah, that's fine. And Machu, first off, I'm assuming Thanos, you're talking about the bear, or maybe you're talking about Onimusha. Not sure, but and you keep hearing about this show again. Not sure if you're talking to the bear or this. I'm assuming it's the bear, and the. But yes, Machu, I think you've got some stuff to watch, right? Are you, or did you know you already watched Blue Eye Samurai? I was trying to tell people go watch it. But anyway, great stuff. And that's the thing. We were talking earlier about how like, yeah, there's a great time for toys. Like it's a great time to be
a
interested in pop
nerd.
culture. Yeah. Because again,
Yeah.
like the bear thing has nothing to do with like nerdiness per se. It's just really well
Right.
written character study. But also like if you're a nerd about food or running a restaurant, dope stuff. Cool. And yes, Blue Eye Samurai, you got to watch. I would say watch that first personally, but whatever. And then this is fantastic. Onimusha is looking good too. And definitely watch The Bear if you're looking for maybe a palate cleanser from the animation or like genre. And it's a trip. It's like, how do I have the time to watch this stuff? And I don't know, but I do. Yeah, you said it. The art direction's dope. I am kind of getting a little like this first scene with all like, I don't know. There's this thing that's happened where like I feel like ninjas have become fodder in a lot of martial arts stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like, I mean, are ninjas that great if there's like a bunch of them and you can easily mow them down these days?
Well, technically, okay. I'm spoiler
Yes,
alert.
break it down. Break it down.
These aren't ninjas. These are monks. Just saying, they're
Uh,
monks. And then I've been watching. I've been gone down the
oh, you're
rabbit
right.
hole.
And
I mean, because
they're in a monastery. You're right. Duh. Keep
right,
going.
these are monks. But yeah, but there's a bunch of ninjas. But like, so just to give you guys some background, like I was there when the ninja craze first hit, like in the '80s, and I had recorded off of cable TV that Enter the Ninja movie, the Golden Globus movie that had Sho Kosugi. I was the actor who played the ninja dressed in black. There you go, the man. And I was just ninja crazy. Our Lola, which is Filipino for grandma, made me in 8th grade a ninja costume, and my best friend Dave Poulin. You know, mine was black, Dave's was white. It was amazing. And so I was totally into it. But then come to find out, I went down this rabbit hole in YouTube, and I lived in Japan for 2 years, you know, for work, and worked in the Japan portfolio for a while. This whole ninja thing, or shinobi, which is what they're called, it's kind of mythology more than reality, how we understand ninjas to be.
Yeah, we've kind of McDonaldized them a little bit, right? Worked it through a American Hollywood filter.
Right. As it turns out, ninjas probably didn't look like this guy, even though I love this guy. But it's still cool. It's a genre, you know. I mean, I think it's no different than how we romanticize quote unquote cowboys, right? If you look back at historical photos of cowboys, they don't look as cool as the cowboys in the movie, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Right. Especially the cowboys if they've been run through an Italian American filter. But yeah.
Right.
Remember this one? Sorry. Anyways. Yeah. Yes. Sho Kosugi. It's funny that you mentioned that 8th grade. I've kind of tangentially talked about it before, but that same year that Lola made you the ninja costume, she made me the Ghostbusters costume.
Right. And I made you guys your proton packs out of cardboard and pieces we found at the electronics store.
Yeah. I remember going with Dad to the electronics and the army surplus to basically big boxes. So Hasbro got nothing on my Proton pack.
So Ray Paz in the chat is asking, did you guys watch American Ninja way back in the 80s too? Yeah,
sadly,
of course. Anything that had the word ninja in it, you had to watch it. I mean,
Shokasugi was in that first one as a villain, right? Or no, he was like a side.
Yeah.
Was he the villain? He was like,
he was a
okay.
villain. He was a villain. Yeah. Yeah.
Onimusha.
Dude, if back in the day, if it said like Sandwich Ninja, I'm there. Oh.
Kenzo, I don't know if you noticed, but neither my brother nor I know what quads are. So the answer is yes. And I'm with you. I also did like it. And the original American Ninja became an American Gladiator. Is that nice? Do you remember which one he was? What his character name was in American Gladiator? Did you ever get an American Gladiator? You weren't out in the house anymore when that was on.
No.
That was one of my late night views. Anyways, then of course the last one I've been telling you about this, Pluto, which is based on some stories from Astro Boy, and it's still kind of Astro Boyish because there is an Astro Boy like character literally named Atom, Atom, in this. But if you're looking for something a little bit more like heady, but in the world of sci-fi robots, good stuff, man. It's Ghost in the Shell, but Astro Boy, if you will. And I want to say it's even some of the same studio that worked on that Ghost in the Shell movie. But anyway, just because of time, we can move on. But you didn't go and look at Pluto yet, did you?
Oh no, I looked at the trailer. I mean, it's in the my list in Netflix is so long. It's like after Onimusha is Blue Eyed Samurai, and then there's a couple other things. And,
oh, I'm sad that you did Onimusha first, but that's okay.
What I found it, yeah.
No, I just Blue Eye Samurai. Damn, like that's. Anyways, it's amazing. Okay, what are we doing next? I think is it Eye Candy? No, I think it is Eye Candy. Let's talk art. You know something about art. Ted is, as one can imagine, an amazing artist. And so there was a comment earlier from Adam, highly articulated. We were talking about the dude in The Bear. And he was saying like, oh man, I wish that the actor in The Bear would be Wolverine. And I love that call so much. And we aren't the only ones, friend, because sorry, I'm building it up. And that's the wrong section. It's Eye Candy. Okay. So this is that same actor painted, not AI, folks, an actual artist, 21x4, did their take on what Jeremy Allen White would look like as Wolverine. And I'm with it. Especially if you see the show, superb actor, the gravitas is there, the everything you want in a Wolverine. Like there's hella stuff going behind the sad eyes, right? And he's not just a berserker, but there's some like real loneliness and some stuff going on. And that's what I want in a Wolverine. But fan casting.
He doesn't have enough hair on his chest.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do some makeup, CG it, and we could also, we had Hugh Jackman, who was like 6 feet tall or something.
I know.
But yeah, so you're breaking it down. I agree with you, Ray. He actually is a short dude, so he is short. Definitely shorter than most of the other folks in the show. Yeah. So check it out. I like that.
I agree with you.
You see more of a Nightcrawler. Totally. Okay. But that aside, this person also does. We've got confirmed just this past week that Pedro Pascal is in fact going to be the MCU's Reed Richards. So I thought it was kind of cool to kind of see this. I don't know if they probably will. This is such an MCU style uniform, right? There's always sort of some tech and armor involved, but whatever. I'm good with it. You and I have talked about how like I'm actually not super into the designs.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be that guy. Sorry to put my work hat on, but like just thinking story wise is like, why would a guy who can stretch and like have things bounce off of him need any armor whatsoever? That's saying.
I don't know if that's work
Sorry.
guy or that's just the nerd in you. That's
Yeah, I guess
there's
so. Yeah.
probably paragraphs on Reddit arguing that exact point. Claims, evidence, and reasoning all laid out.
I'm sure they're very passionate. Yeah.
But the look, I dig it. But also, they went on to do the whole cast. So this is Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I love that.
So I think I'm the only guy. So I had a little bit of like a nerd spell when this news dropped, because you saw me. I texted you and Benji, like, is this real? And the artwork,
because of that 60s artwork.
That 60s artwork, which is phenomenal, which I hope that's what it looks like. But I think I'm the only guy on the planet, when I saw this person, like, is that the girl from Hobbs and Shaw from that the Fast and Furious movie? I love that movie. She's great. She's amazing, because she was also on The Crown. She played Princess Anne's sister or whatever, but she's phenomenal.
And,
so I love this casting. At Mission Impossible, yeah.
So on top of that, this dude who I know you've got your Hellfire Club t-shirt, but this is dude from Stranger Things, right? Metal dude.
That's right.
Which is fun because he's got some attitude. And then that's dope. There's no way that they don't give us this is Eben Moss Backrack, who I don't know, as Ben Grimm. And it is him. No, he's in The Bear too. Duh. So he was also in Andor. So that's fantastic. That's actually really great. Go watch The Bear just to see this guy's attitude. I could totally see him as a Ben Grimm. He's got the Chicago street vibe going on in the show a little bit more so than New York. Was he? No, he was in Hell's Kitchen. Where was he from? The Bronx? Queens? Ben Grimm? I forget.
He was Brooklyn, I think.
Was he Brooklyn? Okay.
Or was that? I'm not sure. I thought he was Yancey Street. Remember, because he was part of the
That's right, the Yancey Street gang. Dude, they have to go into the 60s, because if they don't, it is so hard with the changes in New York City to be like, I'm from the you know what just because of gentrification.
I think the clue on that little piece of artwork that they released had like a portrait of Ben Grimm as an astronaut, and the uniform that he was wearing was like Apollo NASA era mission kind of NASA. Yeah. So
and the whole vibe was the whole 60s thing. So Ray's saying Manhattan, Lower East Side.
Okay. There you go.
I heard recently that the Human Torch was removed from the 70s, 80s cartoon for fear that kids would set themselves on fire. I heard this. I just heard this. There was a weird on one of, like, I don't know if it was a Screen Crush thing or New Rockstars. Apparently, and I did not know this. I knew he was gone. Like, what happened to the Human Torch? But apparently he was gone because there was a weird licensing agreement for Human Torch in like another cartoon thing. So they couldn't use him, which is bizarre. They replaced him with Herbie the Robot, who really was from the comic too. So then they brought him back later on, Human Torch, for like a subsequent Fantastic Four cartoon or whatever they call that. But yeah, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard on the internet. So there you go. Yeah, not sure what the reality is, Star. But I will say, as a kid of the late, being born in the late 70s and mostly raised in the 80s, it's not like we didn't find ways to do stupid things anyways. So anyway, I just wanted to share this art, but wait, there's more. Ben Schwartz as Plastic Man, just he's throwing out. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I could totally see that. But anyway, that was it. And nerdy stuff. Was that my last eye candy? I think it was. Let's talk some custom toys with Custom Corner. This is there you go, Custom Corner. And let's go back to let's see. Let's go to Machu. We've got Machu. Did you know the name? He shared that on this. This is Machu Toy. Machu's Pinoy like us, but his name comes from, he shared it on this channel. His name is Matthew. But when his Lola would
Machu.
Machu. And when exactly.
Machu, stop playing with those toys, Machu.
That's right. That's one right there. So the story's here, as you can see, but he took a Yamaguchi Spider-Man and merged it with a Mezco Spider-Man to get these things so superposable. But there were some, I guess, you know, I've heard a lot of people talking about some of the joints and like just whatever, like different concerns about it. And so I love this kind of thing of like Frankensteining 2 different Superman figures. But I especially, the posing's great. Machu's poses are excellent, man. Super elegant. Look at that.
wow.
That's like straight out of the comics, man. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ditko
Totally.
face.
Mhm.
And look at that. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Of course. That's great.
So I love
Wow.
that these right here, because there were gaps between the suit and the hands, use the boots from the Mezco, cut the boots to make sort of sleeves.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. So that if you ever get a chance, check out Machu Toy's stuff. Like his solutions for these customs are fantastic.
That's an expensive custom, Machu.
Oh, don't even get started. Machu, what you doing with your money? Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Machu.
What's up, Machu? Wait. That's perfect,
that's
though.
impressive.
Look at that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
What's impressive? Wow. Oh, sorry. And you got the Peter head, the animated head. Cool stuff, man. Look at that. That's
wow.
so
Look at
good.
that. So it's great because you know it's funny. Sometimes you get like the '60s Steve Ditko vibe, and now you're getting the McFarlane thing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I
dig it. Well done, Machu. That's that. And then let's check out one more custom, a couple customs by one more customizer, Black Magic Customs. And so Giovanni Bly is going to be at IshCon. And this figure will be for sale. I love Giovanni's work and always really coming in with the melanin, bringing the melanin into that high fantasy that we might not get enough of. Four Horsemen does a good job of trying to bring that into their line, but clearly the customizers can do a lot more.
That's amazing. Dude, we had this conversation the other day. I'm telling you, they're so much better with pupils. I mean, because those 2 figures that you just showed me the heads did not come with pupils. Look at how beautiful that is. Look at how beautiful it is. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing since you pointed that out, it's like, it's hard not, that's the first thing to look at now. And like how many Legions figures don't have pupils. Oops. I
mean, it's just like, it's so much more intense. Look at her, you know? Yeah. Wow.
Same figure, but look at all the detail on the head, the hair, the paint. Gorgeous. I think you grabbed this figure, didn't you?
Oh no, I passed that one up. I'm hoping it goes back on sale on the 24th because now I regret it because I really wanted it, but I might be able to get it for cheaper, but I'm not sure. But it's
and sorry to clarify for folks at home, I meant the original figure. But yeah. Respect. I like my biscuits like my women talk. This is let's talk photos real quick, and this isn't gonna be long, but yeah, technically this is a photo. I forgot that this was gonna be here. Mondo. So this is Raul Barrero shared this pic of this is a 1/6 figure. Those Mondos in front of I'm assuming custom. Yeah, but he's saying the final details of our 1/6 Snake Mountain are almost ready. Next week you will be able to show the entire mountain and they'll exhibit it. Yeah, he's a customizer, but they're going to show it at a con. But that's got to be huge. Yeah, Benji had one of those Snake Mountains, and it was a little bit bigger than Castle Grayskull. So you figure your 1/6 figure. Anyway, just cool, and I love all the details. Dope photo. That's all.
Wasn't that wolf thing a microphone or something like that? Or I think it's something else.
It totally was. The microphone.
Or like had the echo coil reverb thing going in it. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm bouncing all over the place. Actually, no, I'm not, because I think we're gonna move in towards the end. That's what's up, and this is where I focus a little bit more on somebody's work out there, and then we'll get to you. And I know folks have been here for a while, and but thank you if you're still hanging out with us in the live, and definitely if you're hanging out with us in the replay. comments, and I'll get them to Ted if you have questions as we go through. But let's real quick talk about this customizer. And I mean super quick. I just want everyone to sort of see. It's Monking Art Toys, or Monking. And this customizer is wild because of the subject matter. I really appreciate. I don't know if you ever got into or heard about a cartoon called Adventure Time, but they're really simplified character designs, like super cartoony. And so he made these more like photorealistic
That's cool
versions of the characters. So you've got the Ice King, and then you've got the main characters.
Oh wow.
Finn and Jake, which you know, they look like super simple like things, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Cool little robot arm and just cool stuff. Awesome. Again, I like to sort of signal boost talented folks doing crazy things. This is a character from that show. Kind of neat to see what it would look like in a more photorealistic style. Rattle balls. Love Adventure Time. That's one of those like newer cartoons that I was like, oh, what's this about? And then I was challenged by students to watch it, and I was like, whoa, that is some pretty cool stuff. This is, I don't think it's based on anything but called Brothers in Arms. And yep, it's him being carried around by a big dude. It's like a Master Blaster, but a little more grizzled.
Huh. Oh, is that like a license plate on that little shoulder pauldron thing?
Yep.
That's cool.
Goku, but old.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Cool stuff, man. Again, just amazed by what people are doing with their art skills and their hobby. Soft goods on point.
Wow.
I don't know if they're I forget if it was official art, but there was like a dark Yoda concept art. I remember feeling like back in the day, not that long ago. It was in the Disney era. Or it might have just been some fan art. I forget, but kind of cool. Anakin.
Oh.
And we've got Anakin in the back to tank.
Wow.
Wild, right? Oh. This is for you. Do you remember this? No?
Wait.
I want to say you guys used to watch this on Sunday nights. That fairy is a fairy tale show. It wasn't Fables, but it was like fake Fables. Remember Fables, the comic? It was a Disney show called about Snow White, but they're in our world.
Yes. Natalie was into that. I wasn't into that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Once Upon a Time?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Furiosa.
Of course. Yeah. Man, this guy's doing it all.
Prolific.
Oh wow. Cool.
This is called The Hunter. Oh, this is totally not what I thought it was. It says The Hunter, so I actually don't know what this is. I thought it was, what's his name? Kanan. Is that not Kanan? Or maybe they just didn't want to name it. Yeah, that's Kanan because he's got the triangle on his head. Anyway, some cool mashup kit bash kind of things based on a BB-8.
Wow.
Like I said, moving faster through these. Look at that.
Red pass. Yeah. Wow.
Would have Once Upon a Time. Exactly. Fractured Fables. Look at this thing. Oh, I don't know if you remember that.
It's amazing that they look like statues, but I guess they articulate, right?
They are. That's what's fascinating. Yeah, and this reminds me of that when I showed you the big
the Soviet robot thing.
Yep.
Wow.
And so, oops, this is what I wanted to show you because I know. Cool stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
So I love to just show stuff for people to check out, get inspired by, and give these people like more. Not that they need my help, but to throw it out there because they've got plenty of attention. But just cool stuff. This totally like it's all the story. It's what you do, right? In terms of like really trying to tell stories in every little thing, right? Whether it's a bathroom, whether it's a little gargoyle, that there's a story implied and suggested
No, it's visual storytelling, right?
Oh,
It's
here
like
we go.
all these little
Yep.
clues dropped into each one of these things, and like I was pointing out, the guy with the license plate on his shoulder. There's a story to that. Like, and you
Yep.
don't know what that is, but it makes you interested. Like, well, why does he have us? That's interesting. He must have found that from a car, and he turned, use it.
Yep.
Then you just make the stuff up in your head. That's great. It just triggers all those thoughts. It's really cool.
There's that what they kit bashed it from, some printed parts, some like probably some, I don't know, that's a bottle, some kind of drink.
Yeah.
Lego
awesome.
piece there.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Talent.
Wow.
Imagination. Yeah. And
well,
then
homie put in the work. Wow.
Yeah, look at this. I'm a sucker for a good space monkey.
Wow.
And then I showed this already. And then he's not a Joker, making a good toy out of that character.
Trap Jaw Joker.
I think the last one, yeah, Bounty Hunter. Anyway, monking, you're doing great stuff. I appreciate this work. Gives me just like fills my brain with ideas and stories. And even if I can't buy it, which is fine, I'm just looking and I got the joy out of it. But yeah, visual storytelling. Yeah. Let's talk about you, Ted. Let's talk about your visual storytelling. I know that it took us a while to get here, but thank you so much for hanging out, folks. Let's talk about Ted. Let's talk to Ted. What are we looking at here? Because we've been talking toys. We said that you were basically making life-size toys, and here we have a toy that you kind of had a hand in designing. Yeah. What are we looking at here?
This is it's a toy. They're called the Iron Wings. And so one of the projects I worked on was for an attraction called Iron Man Experience. It is in Hong Kong Disneyland, and basically Tony Stark sets up the Stark Expo, and he's showing off these new technology of these Iron Wings, these autonomous sort of, pilotless vehicles, that can do all kinds of utilitarian things. And if you going back to the other photo that you had that showed the 5 of them. This was a bit kind of inspired because we had an early look in development of this project into Iron Man 3, which had not opened up. Iron Man 3 opened up when we were in the middle of producing this project. And we saw, if you remember that movie, he had a bunch of different suits of armor that had different utilities. One was for construction, one was for this, one was going to space. And so that kind of inspired this idea that he would create these vehicles. And really, this was sort of a backwards idea to, if you're familiar with Star Tours, you get in the vehicle and you fly to somewhere, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's what you do in Iron Man Experience. You get on that Iron Wing, which is that top one, that big one, which we like to say sits you and 44 of your closest friends. It's a giant Iron Man suit per se, but it's used as a shuttle to take you to Stark Tower, Hong Kong, which has this giant arc reactor at the top. And spoiler alert, some new face or familiar face of Hydra shows up in this very cool way and tries to take the arc reactor. So we go on this adventure to try and stop Hydra from taking the arc reactor, because that would be very, very bad, et cetera, et cetera. And so this was a dream project for me because, I got to play in the playground that I grew up in, right? And this is one of the, and then finally, just fast forward, they made toys of these things, which for me was like, wow.
You have these. Oh, wait, this is yours. What am I saying? Of course you have these.
What's that? Yeah.
No, I was going to ask if you had them, but I forgot you had these pictures.
Yeah, these photos. Yeah. So
do they give them to you, or do you have to like hunt them down?
I had to buy my own, when I
hilarious.
Park, of course, but they gave me other tchotchkes, but I had to buy my own toys. But what was I going to say? So they were designed by a very talented Imagineer. His name is Derek Howard, and he does a lot of the vehicle designs for us. Not just he has a vehicle design art, automobile and motorcycle design background. He's an art center kid from Pasadena. He's not a kid; he's a grown man. Right. But he was he was the perfect choice because he designed these 5 vehicles that basically come with us on the adventure and help us stop Hydra. They're remotely piloted. And so you have a firefighting one, you have a construction one, you have one that goes into space, another one that's like a submarine that goes underwater. So this is totally like drawing upon all of those kind of genres and stuff that
Yeah.
you and I grew up with, toys, and all the so
Toys,
this
it's
was
robots,
yes.
animation, like some of the Japanese
Mhm.
animation stuff. I see that in
Totally,
there.
totally. So
What's it like to work on, like you said, this is your roots, right? Marvel Comics, you're really into, we were into as kids. And then, of course, by this time, what year was this? Do you remember what year when you were working on it?
I was working on this between 2013 and it opened in January, I want to say, of 2017.
So by this time, the MCU launched with Iron Man in 2008, and then by this time, Avengers had come out. So we'd seen all the team up with the other Avengers, and so now they've established this thing called the MCU. So what's it like, one, to work on this childhood Iron Man thing, but then also to work with the people, because you had to interface with Marvel Studios? Like, can you just share?
Yeah,
I'm sure what you
sure,
can, but also just what's that like
sure.
as a
It
nerd?
was yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of hyperbole or hyperbolic to say like it was a dream come true. I mean,
Sure.
it was, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, but we're all professionals. We got to, do it well. But I think because I'm such a fan of the MCU, not starting with the comic books from the
Yep.
70s and on, I think I wanted to I think I took it seriously, meaning to say it's like, I got to do this right. We got to do this right. And
Yep.
so luckily for us, Kevin Feige is a really nice, generous guy, generous with his time, with his digital assets. I mean, we worked with the same people at ILM to make the film for this. That guy, dream come true. I get to direct a 4-minute Marvel film. Shut up. Okay.
Yeah, that's essentially it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And in the MCU, as you've kind of pointed out, kind of alluded to, that, like, I don't know
yes.
if it's, I was talking about this with you earlier, I don't know if it's in that timeline book, so I haven't looked at it, but at least in working with Kevin Feige and the studio, there was an effort to really, and guidance on their part to say, you can't do this because of canon, right?
Right.
So I know you don't want to spoil it, but I mean, like, I don't know how many people are going to be able to actually make it to Hong Kong Disney.
You can watch it on YouTube. So
That's true. So can you just share when
you
you mentioned a familiar face and what that was like, bringing them into this?
Right. So this story takes place, for those MCU folks, for fans that are listening, takes place between Captain America: The Winter Soldier, so the second Captain America movie, and Iron Man. And no, Avengers: Age of Voltron is when this sort of story takes place. And so maybe before Iron Man 3. And so if you remember Winter Soldier, the big bad there, the secret bad, was this, funny enough, an AI of Arnim Zola, who was the lead scientist for the Red Skull, that other science group from the Nazi science group from the first movie and the comic books. And in the comic books, Arnim Zola, his AI, gets put into like this giant body, this robot body, and he has like a face here, right? And so we wanted to do that version of it. So what ends up happening is that at the end of Winter Soldier, or in the middle of Winter Soldier, you think Captain America, you assume, and Steve Rogers and Natasha destroy the Arnim Zola protocol. That's all on discs and tape. Like, oh yeah, these are from the Q. This is from the Q line. These are these massive models of the different Iron Wings, which of course you're here to see. You're not here to fight Hydra. You're here at a big science fair, Tony's, and this is what you discover along the way.
So just again, I know it's like Disney, but like literally you're walking through, it's kind of like a museum as you're waiting, however long it is to wait in line. You get to check all this stuff out and read all this stuff. So, you got to fill this up, right? It's not just the ride itself, but it's the storytelling even before you get on the ride, right?
Well, it's funny, when we got this assignment, I'll finish the Arnim Zola thing again.
Yes, sorry.
Zola thing, and he shows up. He's in this big mothership of a thing. And you get to the center of this thing, and it's Arnim Zola on the big screen. It looks like him there. So it's really fun that we got to borrow that part of him. But yes, in the queue. So one of the believe it or not, as part of this assignment, our powers that be said, we can't assume that everybody coming to this park, into this attraction, knows who Iron Man is. There might be folks who haven't seen the movie. They just came to Disneyland in Hong Kong. So we have to find a way to gently explain who these people are, not assume who everybody is. People might think he's just a robot. I know he's a guy in a suit. So we have these very elaborate movies in 3 different sections of this queue. And what you're seeing here is Tony putting on display some of the artifacts of how he became Iron Man. There's even nods to Howard Stark. And Howard Stark, if you saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he had that flying Corvette or whatever. So we had a play on that. Like there's like this. Yeah, we talk about how there's this, which comes from S.H.I.E.L.D., the comic books. They had the flying cars, right? Nick Fury in the comics. So we had a plan that said like, hey, we showed like this nod to how Howard Stark has been dabbling in vehicles that fly for a long time before there was even a Tony Stark born. And you're kind of showing the through line of like how he ended up with this Iron Wing concept. I think one of the lines from one of the films, like Tony took his dad Howard's idea about a vehicle that could fly, and blah, 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 blah. And so that's kind of what you learn in the queue. And there's certain things that happen in the iron, when you're in that giant iron wing, there's a spoiler alert, there's something that cracks through the windshield and suddenly the glass heals itself. Well, we have on display there in the little expo in the queue, this machine, we called it Stark self-healing glass. And there's this awesome healing glass that gets punched by this metal pin and it shatters and then it heals itself. And we got props from the movie. So if you're looking at this prop here, this was from Iron Man 2. It was in that short film that Tony was looking at when he found those little reels of film. And this was Howard Stark, who was talking about, back in the day. And this was one of the models there. We actually had to recreate that. We went back to the movie house. Yeah, that too. Yeah, from Iron Man 2. Yep. Yeah.
God, that's a trip to I can't, obviously I've heard you talk about it, but I can't even wrap my head around being like into this stuff both as a kid and then very much so currently and its current iteration and then working on it. So on top of that, dude, like I know this wasn't just that, but you did this. And so this is all stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, that was cool.
So you were D23, for those of you who aren't big Disney nerds, is like their big Disney like showcase, a con basically. But you basically are unveiling like new rides, new attractions, or sneak peeks of things. And so in this one, I love this because you got to kind of talk all about it. I don't know how many people in this room that you're talking to?
Like 8,000, 8,000.
8,000 people or so, and then you're showing all the concept art. There's the
there's the
cars
car.
That
There's a flying car. Oh yeah,
that was actually in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And then
Captain America.
Yes, you're right. Sorry.
But I'm sorry to stop here, but the car above it is what we sort of said was like the link in the chain to that original car from the 40s. And Derek
this
Howard,
was Tony?
the same design. This was Howard.
Howard was still working on these like fancy space age concept cars?
Yeah, in the 70s. This is supposedly from the 70s.
Okay,
and it was called the Maria. And we did that whole like G.I. Joe thing where it's all like every letter stands for a thing. And Maria was his wife's name. And yeah. And by the way, spoiler alert. The other thing we got to create were these great new Hydra walker things, right? And it was great. Yes. And so what you're seeing here was propaganda posters warning S.H.I.E.L.D., warning about the threat of Hydra, because as if these are like what we didn't see on screen in Captain America, Hydra had these like 1940s versions of like these little mini Walker tank things. And
awesome.
In the new film, or in the new that we did in the Adventure Ride, they show up and now they're like spider-like and whatnot. So in the queue, we're kind of like dropping kind of hints, but without knowing it, because they were just showing artifacts of history, and then it all sort of like ties together, in the finale.
Ray wanted to hear the Arnim Zola. So I think I forget what you did in here, but basically Arnim Zola maybe didn't die essentially.
Yes, maybe Arnim Zola
Winter Soldier.
Die. Right, maybe his little programming escaped through the thing, and I think they actually talked about that in some of the MCU too, where the protocol got out. Yeah. And so he basically controls this giant mothership thing that rises out of the water. It's this amazing moment. Oh, you can see a little bit of those walkers here. They're going to show it.
Okay.
I think.
This is basically, there it is. So this is the, essentially it's the, like you said, it's the expo. So what you're seeing is Stark builds an arc reactor for like, all over the world to help. What is it? Clean energy or whatever it was.
Clean energy, to help mankind.
But of course, that kind of thing is a target. So you launch out of the parks and then they take you downtown.
We fly to Kowloon. This is Kowloon, and then
Yeah.
we
Okay.
yeah.
And then
There you
boom,
go.
here comes
Yep.
Hydra
There you go.
to attack, and
Yeah.
all being controlled and orchestrated by Arnim
Ah,
Zola.
there you go. There you go. There's Arnim in there. Yeah. You get a better look in the finale, in the final film. You
Yeah,
really
they don't
see
want to
it's him with the
spoil
round
it.
glasses. Right, right.
So, what I want to look at this real quick is this is you and former CEO Bob Chapek, and then there's this dude from the audience who comes up.
Yeah. So we got to do this
Right.
whole like bit of like a fake like giveaway, and it's like number 99 seats. So who's that? And then this gentleman walks up, and so yeah, dude, it was amazing. I got to work with be on stage with Stan Lee, and he was in the. For those of you who have never been on a Disney ride, or that some of these rides have a boarding video to show you how to like put your seatbelt on, do all these things. And if you've ever been on Star Tours, you're familiar with that. You know, there's little gags in that video, and Stan Lee is in our safety video, we call it. You know, and so it was great. So we filmed Stan Lee. So it's honestly it's fantastic. I mean, just like just back in the day, every MCU movie had a Stan Lee cameo. It's like, dude, we got to have ours. Come on.
Yeah.
So.
And then he actually comes on. I don't want to ruin. Well, yeah, people should check it out, and the video will be in the links. But they kind of like he tries to tell you guys, no, I'm famous. I'm an actor. Don't you know? And they kind of do this like super cut of all his clips.
Yeah.
And then he gets introduced to a person, right? He meets this guy in real life. Where is he? Oh, there he is.
There he is. Iron Man.
So a person in an Iron Man suit. And I did want to share, I don't think it's a different costume, but this is the Iron Man that's in the ride, right?
The one that's in the ride movie. Yeah. And so there's an interesting story here. So because we were in the middle of a production of all the different things, and I just lost volume. Okay. And we wanted to be up to date. So when we released our movie, we were closer to, like I said, Avengers Age of Ultron. So the folks at Marvel Studios gave us the geometry for the suit that was used. I don't know which mark it is. It's something 30 something. But of course we wanted to put our own spin on it, and we got permission from Kevin to bring it closer to the iconic red and gold coloring, because in Age of Ultron it was more red than gold. So he let us do that, but we wanted to be up to date, because when our movie or our ride opened, we didn't want to have like hey, that's the old armor. Why? So it's kind of cool that we were kind of in sync with that in its own way. So
I kind of teased in the thumbnails that and then in the description, like, oh, let's talk a little bit about the icky fandom, and I'm actually going to pause on that, and maybe we can continue the conversation another time, because
sure.
I want to go into that, and I know if I go into that, it'll be a while, but I'll just say this, like, you are now in your professional work working with IP that we love, whether it's this or, they're hardcore fans of Beauty and the Beast, or you're working now on Tiana's, which is based on Princess and the Frog. But, it's like, at some point, well, let's have a separate, I'll tease it here, but let's have a separate conversation about what that's like. Not necessarily, I know you can't give details, but given, like, I was talking about Masters of the Universe Revelation recently, and Revolution, and how, like, we're in this age where we're all pretty spoiled. Like, we were just talking about the MCU and Fantastic Four. I want to talk to a creative like yourself who works on these properties and then has the pressure of having to turn them into something that's entertaining and people like, while people are actively hating on it, like, even before it comes out, right? And have their hot takes. And so that's a larger conversation that I want to just tease. I'll just leave that out there, and we'll have you come back a different time for that. Does that sound good?
That sounds awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's nerd a little bit about this stuff. We won't be able to get into all of it, but you and the cousin Benji, who we were talking about earlier, he got to go hang out with you in Japan for a little bit. Oops, that's not the right pictures. But you all went to the Bandai Museum.
So our cousin Benji, he came out to Japan when I was living out there working on that project out there, and we went into like this is literally the sticks. It was, if you know anything about California, it was like it felt like the it felt like the equivalent of like the Central Valley in California. It was like, why is this museum here? And I don't know if they started making the toys there or whatever, but this is an amazing collection of all things like Japanese robot inspired or produced. And so there's their cousin Benji back there, but this is like the Super Sentai like island of stuff, which people here know as the Power Rangers. And there was just so much of it, right? And we talked the other day, like, oh, our cousin had that one. I think he had that one. And I remember seeing that in a magazine, and amazing.
Yep. He had this one. Our other cousin, Adrian. And I don't. He didn't bring it from the Philippines, but he ended up getting them here, or did he bring some from the Philippines?
He mostly got them here. Yeah, that far one on the top right, that right blue one.
This one, he had that and this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and
it was just amazing to see it all in one place. Yeah.
We were lucky to be able to get exposed to this stuff. Like, we didn't have it, but our cousin did, and it was just kind of cool. I remember that's when I learned, because these things came with little figures. I don't know which one exactly came with them, but they fit in your Optimus Prime back in the day, and that's when I first started realizing, like, oh.
Right. Fanigan's got a comment there. It says, I was more into the Shogun series. Oh, just you wait.
Yeah, and I've mentioned before that you and I, you had your, I was born into a world where you had your Shogun warriors. I think I might have been already born, but so a lot of Sentai stuff, Gundam. But yeah, the Shogun stuff is like haunts me, I guess, in many ways, because just those were great toys. Do you even know what happened to those?
I think they might be in Mom's attic. I think that's where my Godzilla is. I think so. I think so.
Wait, so you're saying we might still have them?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, because that's the thing that always tripped me out, because Mom and Dad, they're like, they wouldn't want us to ever get rid of stuff.
I have one of the most like rare, like this is a fun thing. Oh, so they had this amazing tin toy collection. Amazing. And not just stuff that Bandai made. It was just like a museum dedicated to toys. And so you saw like a lot of these, domestic as Japanese produced like tin toys throughout the, like this. Amazing stuff. Yeah.
Ray is asking about the Shogun. So I'm not sure what was up earlier. Sorry, I went past it. But yes, they did do a Godzilla, Gojira that Ted had, and I loved it as a kid. And he's saying that we might still have them. He had Mazinger Z. He had
Great Mazinga. It was great.
Sorry,
Mazinga.
It's right. It was Great Mazinga. It was, what was the Raideen?
Raideen,
Godzilla. And then you had the oh my God, look at me. The big Rodan, but it wasn't exactly Shogun Warriors. It was a different line. Right. And there was one more. Who am I missing?
Oh, I had Geiking.
And Geiking. Yeah. Yep. Man, that was awesome. Cool rotocast. But anyway, so he's saying that they're still around, which has always kind of intrigued me, because I'm like, why would
I thought they were? I know. I mean, I'm pretty. I could.
Well, because I can't imagine they would be gone. Like, I don't know why they would have been gone. But anyway, I'm not going to play through everything. But like, this was amazing. And unfortunately, we're going to Japan in the summer. My family, and this you're saying is quite a bit away from Tokyo?
Yeah, it's out in the sticks. Yeah, fortunately, I had a car, and that was it was probably the more practical way to do it. Benji and I tried to do it by train one time. We just kind of gave up. But yeah, there's Gamera, and then if you keep clicking away, you're going to see the some of that. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
There you go, Ray. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And there is a Mazinga repro,
and I had
I shared here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do many parts probably of just like, because again, there was a bunch of stuff so Ted and I get into like conversations, nerdy stuff all the time, either by text or on the phone. And there's been a couple of times I've been pushing actually him to come on, and like, because it's like our conversations are basically content, and so yeah, this stuff. Oh man,
this was amazing, man. Yeah, no, I mean it was incredible. And if you go, I don't know if we'll make it far enough, but there is a case that had the Jumbo Machinda. Oh, I mean, there's a great fingers right there. But that showed them all, you know, in the original Japanese form. But yeah, so this is like more modern stuff, right? So they have
these ones, yeah.
old stuff, yeah.
Some of these are like Soul of Chogokin, and yeah, like this one right here, the box you can see. There's a Soul of Chogo. But and you know, I have such a love for the vintage toys. But you know, you and I have talked about this. Like at this day and age, me being the age I am, I love that stuff, and I'm just less of a vintage collector because I remember it, and I'm just intrigued by, like, you know, stuff we were talking about: Four Horsemen, Zero Toys, Myro Union. Just it would be really hard for me to just go back and get a bunch of vintage toys when all this new stuff is coming out.
Right. And I remember, you know, well, and just the technology's better now, so you're just getting better products.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I still have nostalgia for these things. I mean, they're great. It'd be great to have them in a case like this, but you know, I think I mean, just everything that you showed you know, it's toys are made better now, I guess.
Yep. You know where I get my fix of these now?
Where?
Every time I go into the mission and go check out Super 7, they had Geiking there at least. But these are cool. I didn't realize they made that. This must have been later. This is the Guardian, and this is Deimos.
That's Dangard Ace.
Dangard Ace.
Yeah. And then like, in one of these photos, some of the bad guys.
The baddies.
In one of these photos, they show like a wooden buck, like talking about whoever's asking about sculpting and ZBrush. There you go. So this is how they did it back then. It was like either like a clay or wood.
Oops. Crap. This is not going to be fun.
No.
Sorry, because I gotta, anyway, keep going.
Yeah. So there you go. So this was really interesting. Like, this is Combatra, I think. And you know, this is how they did it back in the day, 1-to-1 scale, you know. So
yeah, so the question was, did these come from Diaclone as well? And yes, Shogun and Micronauts came out the same year. And so in Japan, they came out earlier. And yes, Micronauts was a combination of toys from the Diaclone line and the Microman line.
Right.
Oh wait, am I mixing that up?
Yeah, it's Micronauts and then Diaclone, and then became eventually Transformers.
That's what I was saying. I messed up. Transformers was a combination of Diaclone and Microman, and so, yeah, man, this was good stuff. So this is first made in wood as a prototype.
It looks like wood. Yeah.
Did they sculpt from this? Is that the idea?
I gotta imagine that they did, because then they would create the tool.
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean sculpt. I meant mold from them. Yeah, create the molds.
Yeah, I think they would create the molds from these. Yeah, and then be like they're injected mold, probably roto molded. And,
so this guy, then this guy.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Voltus 5. And then
this place was. Look at this place.
Whew. Man, I love that the cases are all straight up from the 70s/80s too.
Yeah,
that was great, man. Oh, yeah, Macross. Oh,
and I took this for you. I took this photo for you.
What was that? This is me, folks. This is my jam. This is my. As a kid, I had this guy.
And by the way, Sergio's a pretty tall guy. He's taller than me. He's probably like 5'9". I mean, tall for us.
I'm 5'10".
4'10". There you go. So you can imagine how big this thing is. So.
Yeah, man, this thing is great. I've told stories about it here before, but yes, I actually do have this. I have a student, high school senior. She had a little keychain of a Monchichi. I was like, "What's up with Monchichi?" And I showed her some pictures of my oldest with that. And she's like, "What?" So yeah, these are great. Thank you for those. And no, just giant robo chairs.
Yeah.
Look at that. Gundam.
There you go.
Yeah, I got through most of them. I got through all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, good man. Ray, that's Ray. That's my sister's stuff. Yeah. So like you were Ted and I was your sister. Yeah, they were great stuff. And this is Ray asking, how come we don't have a toy museum? And that's my thing. And I just keep putting it out there. Like, I'm not necessarily married to or into the idea that I have to be the person to do this. But I've been talking with a couple of other sort of Toy YouTube friends. I'm like, damn, man, where is that? It's exactly what you're saying. But you know, the Mopop up in Seattle.
Oh yeah,
I
great
want
place.
the Museum of Pop Culture. I want the Motoy, the Museum of Toy Culture. And like where it's just like the Mopop, interactive. You got exhibits like that, but then you learn about the making process, and then maybe interviews with people like us who talk about, oh, when I was a kid, I had this, and you have the designers. Like, just gonna keep throwing that out there, man.
You need a rich billionaire because it was the other founder. It was Bill Gates' partner. I forget his name. He passed away. Who started that? That wasn't called the Mopop at first. It was called the something musical museum. But he's
experience the museum of some. Yeah.
Right. But that gentleman, I forget his name. I apologize. You helped
something Allen.
Yeah. Yes. Something Allen. He's also a huge like sci-fi nerd fan, and so he had amassed this collection of like movie props and costumes.
Experience Music Project. That's what it was. And Paul Allen. Oh, did I lose you? You're muted. Hold on. You got unmuted. I can't unmute you. I think you muted it on your end.
Here we go.
There you go. Oh, your headphones died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cool. So you need to find a billionaire who's a huge toy fan and has amassed a huge collection to open up that museum.
Yeah, I guess that's what we got to look at. Ray, you got money, man? You got money? We open this up. Fanagan, you got money? Paul Allen, yes, thank you. Action Figuratorium. Action Figuratorium, thanks for coming. You've got some great stuff that I was sharing. Oh yeah, then they changed it to Experience Music Project or Museum. It was a Jimi Hendrix. Okay, cool. Did we watch Battle of the Planets?
Are you kidding me? That was the best part of the school week, was like watching that at 7 to 7:30 before we had to pile into the car and go to St. Raymond Elementary School, was watching Battle of the Planets. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Or Gatchaman. Yeah.
What's up, Gaz?
Absolutely.
Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets, we were all about it. I hated Seven's Arc 7. That was that was a thing that happened, just like the Wonder Twins and those other stupid, what were the kids with the dog dino?
Oh, yeah. That was from the original
Super Friends. That was all
something in Wendy. Yeah,
it was that same vibe of like, oh, if we have a kids cartoon, we gotta have kids in it, and they gave us Seven's Arc 7 for whatever reason. Yeah, man. And then I don't know, Star, how long after Diaclone did Super Dimensional Fortress Macross launch in Japan? That I don't know.
It was 80s.
Oh, good.
It was. I know this because I just watched one of these. I watched one of these videos. I forget who did it on YouTube of like, Robotech and the whole dumb story, but then
Dan Larson.
Toy
Galaxy, Super Galaxy.
Robotech was like the ported over version of Macross, and it's kind of like chopped up and made into all kinds of things. But Macross was the Super Fortress Macross, was the Dimensional Fortress Macross. That came out, I want to say, in the early to mid 80s, early 80s.
It's hard because of Japan. I don't totally. Because Dan Larson does. That's Secret Galaxy that you're referring to. Great channel, lots of research. But I'm just not sure when Diaclone actually came out as a toy line or a manga anime. But and of course people know Transformers ended up pulling
1982.
They did a Veritech fighter pulled from this. 1982. Look at this, Action Figuratorium. We have that.
We got that at the garage sale. Yeah.
Thanks to the local Downey resident who was selling their kids' stuff in the garage sale.
And of course, we didn't use it as a board game. It was like a play set to us,
That's right. Yeah. And cool because they came with stands, and they were smart enough to make them the exact same size. They were actually pictures of the toys on little standees, cardboard, but then exactly the same size, so you could, We got Jason. I forget his Japanese name, but yes, absolutely. Oh, you just got his.
Joe. Jason was Joe.
Joe the Condor. That's right. Condor Joe. Yeah, man, that stuff was great. Gotcha Man, most people don't realize like that was the blueprint for what we would end up getting later in terms of that. Like even Super Sentai came out of that idea of like the team of people, and then there was also this like archetypes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you had the one girl, of course,
Mm-hmm.
you had the hero leader Scott Summers type who's like super like responsible, and then you had the anti-hero-y guy who was, you know, just as good looking as the hero. Right. Then you had the little guy,
the comedy relief.
Well, and then you had the big dude, right?
The big strong
Tiny.
guy, big guy with a big heart.
Yeah. So if you think about Voltron, it's exactly that group that I just named. If you think about Silverhawks, mostly it's kind of that. Like that became a blueprint for a lot of things. So
I mean, a lot of things. You can almost probably say the same thing about Thundercats, right? Same thing.
Yep. Yeah, and and absolutely Star. Like when they ported that stuff, when they localized that stuff, so much change. Same with Voltron, like same with Macross and Robotech. The difference in story is staggering from Gatchaman to Battle of the Planets. Because like again, the sensibility in the United States is different than in Japan. And like when I was just sharing earlier, Onimusha or Pluto or even Blue-Eyed Samurai, which I know is some American production, but what is accepted in quote unquote cartoons and cartoon storytelling, animated storytelling, in Japan is just totally different. They've got manga of all sorts of varieties for kids, for adults, for seniors. You got ones about sports, Kenzo. But yes, so Gatchaman was much more adult, 100%, as much as it was a lot of that stuff. That's why I say
people died,
for that, for that Pluto thing that I mentioned, I kind of put them in the links that I'll put up later. Like that's the Astro Boy that like I want now as a 48-year-old. Am I 48 or 47? Whatever I am, gonna be 48. Man, there you go. I knew you were there. Like Pluto is the story that I would love to see now. So anyway, man, we covered a lot. Did I just? Oh, of course. I can't. Sorry. There's all sorts of footage of Ted that you can kind of see talking about different projects.
Oh, geez, come on.
Ted in a hard hat. No, but just cool stuff. Like if you're a nerd and you're into like the art of it all, I love this stuff, And then the last thing, let's close with this. Dude, you got to not only meet Stan, but then you got to do this tribute event, right?
Yeah.
And there's this cool interview. This was wait, was he still alive or did he pass on already?
This was after Iron Man had opened, so this had to have been like 2017.
But was he alive still?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's right, because he was being honored there. He was there. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to remember because we'll keep going. And so, how did this work out? How did they end up contacting you to kind of speak at this event honoring Stan Lee?
I don't really know. I'm sure it had to do with the ride. I think they tried to like get as many different people from different industries that sort of Stan had some involvement with. And I guess I was part of the Disney theme parks contingency because they also had a bunch of actors like this is where I met Lou Ferrigno. So Lou Ferrigno was there, of course, because of television. Yep. And also the guy, I forget his name, but he played the leader of the Hand in the second season of Daredevil on Netflix. But a lot of like writers that or artists, some artists. I want to say I'm not sure, but like maybe Todd McFarlane was there, but like those types of people. So it was weird to be in that crowd amongst all these people. I was like, I'm just theme park guy, but it was cool because I'm a fan, and Stan Lee was as a kid reading Stan's soapbox in the comic book. He wasn't a real guy. He was just that guy who would introduce things, blah, 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 hello, Spider fans,
Yeah, so, we got his voice in the 80s when he did that cartoon.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello, true believers.
Yeah. So, and I got to say, and I know I've met, you never know how people really are and whatnot, but he really was like a genuinely like nice person who like only had power. And then what I will say, one of the things, you know, the interesting, just as a Stanley anecdote, and I know it's getting late for people, but when I was talking to him, when we were filming the safety video of him for the ride attraction, I asked him, so what do you think about all this stuff, man? Iron Man movies, Captain America movies, Thor, all this stuff. It's like, this has got to be huge for you, right? And he said, I remember these words. He says, you know what? Back in the day, we were just trying to, you know, publish as much as we could so everyone could pay their rent. You know, we were just working. You know what I mean? We didn't know it was going to be any of this stuff. It was just like one of the few jobs that we could stand doing, and that's what we did. And there's Stan there in the front. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool of him, right? So he was very humble. I was like, yeah, I don't know. We just needed to draw comic books so we could, you know, keep the lights on, you know, pay, you know, sell comic books. So that was a very cool guy.
I only ran into him briefly in 2008 Comic-Con. He was walking through, and so all of a sudden there was this big entourage, and I didn't realize what it was. I was like, he was standing right next to me, and I was like, I bumped into him. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I look at him. It's like, he's like, oh, it's okay, young man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great, man. And so yeah, we should close out, but just it's so cool to think that you are, you know, you kind of said it in that interview earlier that I was sharing, just like how much you were sort of pushed to the creativity because of the work that Stanley, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko et al. Kind of did, you know, learning to draw with like what was that thing?
How to draw comics
drawing
the
Marvel way.
That is like that is the best illustration teacher illustration teaching material that I've ever had to this day. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's great, man. And then of course you're working on stuff like helping to design Iron Man armor. And anyway, there's a bunch of stuff. Like I would love to have you back.
Sure.
And we've talked about it, but that's the plan to come back and find maybe a different container. Cause I know the news is like, hey, let's look at this stuff. But I think as people were asking, I know Ray's like, hey, come on, talk to your brother. Like want to hear stories, and like you and I can just talk about all the toys that we had as a kid and even the toys that we're buying now. Because again, those conversations, folks, are super fun and nerdy, and yeah.
I will just say this for those of you who like do toy photography or are interested in toy photography, buy that book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh, 100%.
It is like it just breaks down like what makes a strong pose and what doesn't, and it's all there, man. It's all there.
John Buscema, and yeah, this is the one, but. Anyway, Stanley Buscema. I never knew.
Yeah,
Buscema.
John Buscema. Sal Buscema was his dad.
I've bought this twice in my life, let alone, yeah. And then there was another one, the tryout book. Remember the tryout book?
Oh yeah, I had that too. Yeah.
Anyway, cool stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming through. We don't really have like a social media thing, so I normally will put links to my guest stuff, but that's kind of not his thing. So I just shared links to some of the videos that we saw today. I'll put in some other ones. So I know this is kind of weird. I ask everyone this, but is there anything folks should look for or look forward to from you and your work or whatever?
Oh, I mean, you know, we got Challenge by Adventure coming this summer. Magic Kingdom. It's gonna be super fun. Lots of fun new characters, great music, you know, and a fun new music. And then it's going to open up at Disneyland a little later in the year. But yeah, that's my main jam. That's why I'm flying a lot. And that's why I'm in 2 different places right now. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do this from California or do this from here in Orlando last we talked, but here I am. So yeah, I
turned off the music. I mean, to make it so whatever, but it was messing with your audio. So yes, I'm glad that you got to jump on here. We got to tell little stories. We got to bring Benji into it. It was dope. So thank you to everybody who stuck around. I hope it was fun for you to listen to. If you're catching this on the replay, man, oh, there you go. Sorry, real quick. Yeah, exactly. Because I see it in your work, man, your poses. And yes. Yeah, Trevor. So Trevor's a toy photographer, exactly doing what you're saying, man. Like he read it till it fell apart. Anyway, man, I'm glad to hear that, Thanos, and hopefully folks are into it. We will definitely be back together. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you saw the episode with the Collecting Brothers, but you came up a lot because like we were just talking about like, oh yeah, me and my brother collect too, and it's just a lot of fun parallels. So, and I'm sure there's got to be people out there like us with, you know, I know Allison has stories about her and her family with toys. So anyway, we got to do this again.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ray is holding you to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more about coordinating and stuff, but we'll make it happen, man. Thank you all so much for joining us here. As far as
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. As far as what's going on with the channel, every Sunday, for those of you who aren't familiar, we do this at 4:30 p.m. On the West Coast. So come through in the news. Next week, I've got Stephanie Orkin from the Legions community and just like another super talented artist who I know has a dope musical background too. So I'm excited to talk with her next week, and we've got a bunch of other folks lined up. I'll put that on the community tab. But I think other than that, I'm just going to be like you, spending money on toys. Probably going to order some. Anyways, yes. So thank you all for watching. Definitely check the community tab, subscribe. Thank you again to the folks who signed up for the memberships. Super appreciated. Keeps the light on. So, all right, folks. I think we're out. Yeah. All right. And you got any way to sign off? Is there a Disney point thing that you do?
Hey, have a magical night.
Perfect. We'll end it on a Disney tip. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Peace.